Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Enter the Unfamiliar live episode 47. We were almost not going to do a show tonight, but you know what? I figured I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not raptured yet for you guys in the chat, so might as well. But of course, like any other week, technical difficulties. Stream Labs OBS. I had to reinstall that so I could do my whole black and white theme because it's just not the same show. I mean, I would have done it, in color had I needed to, but thankfully I was able to download a new version, new installer, and get it up and running. So I thank you guys for being patient. We'll see what else happens. I couldn't get the 30-second countdown to go either for some reason. So, but hey, whatever. We're here. I got the intro going. So, hello to everyone in the chat. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Yeah, we're closing in on 50. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know how many weeks because there were a couple weeks here and there we took off. So, I'd say maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks, maybe we didn't do a show out of those 50 that we did. So probably 57 or so weeks. I've been doing this a little over a year now. Crazy. The first show I did was not even a show. It wasn't live. I just recorded this thing. I didn't have it. It was different background. The whole vibe was different. I slowly kind of, built this sort of old school radio image and the whole deal. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. It's been that long. So welcome, RR. Apocalypse. Were you talking about Francis Ford Coppola's movie? No. I don't know. His movie, for as violent as it is, it's actually probably a lot more fun and enjoyable than the actual Apocalypse, which is what we'll be talking about tonight. The final countdown. The final Death Star. Hoping the apocalypse happens. You know what? I don't know. No, it hasn't started yet, but I think we're going uphill, or maybe going downhill is a better way of putting it. We're heading there so very quickly. In my opinion, I'm going to go over why I think that we're heading towards that period, or at the beginning of that period, maybe we're at the beginning of it. And there's different interpretations of. Well, we'll talk about of when that began, because technically the last days in the broad sense started as soon as Jesus left, after his resurrection and when he ascended. Technically, like the last days kind of started then. But when you really get into what the prophecies say, it's a specific time that's in the future, coming up. Back then it was, well, I think 2,000 plus years in the future, which leads us to the time we're living in now. And I've talked about this on previous shows. If you guys have watched this channel before, I've talked about different prophecies by different groups. That we talked about the Essenes and their prophecies that they wrote at the same time that the Old Testament was being written. They had their own kind of prophecies that happened to fit in perfectly with the Old Testament. They were the writers of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So, which we know, at least Isaiah, I believe, was pretty much the entire book of Isaiah was in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So it's the same. It's the same we have now. It's the same. It hadn't changed at all. So people who want to say, oh, well, how can you trust prophecies? They were written after these events. You go back and say this happened and so was king, and this this group was going to take off this group. It's easy to say, but we know now that that's not true, that these prophecies were written before many of them came to pass. Not to mention how many of them spoke about the Messiah and what he was going to do, who he was going to be, and that he had to die and be crucified. This stuff was all written before he lived, before Jesus walked the planet, and we know that now. So how do you predict that stuff? You have to be outside of space and time, right? The only way to do it. But I mean, you could argue what the source was. I guess that's a different story. But the fact that it is in there and it was written before these events, It's undeniable now with the Dead Sea Scrolls. You just can't. It's science. Archaeology and science. For so long, people tried to use science as the excuse to not believe the Bible. Well, it's not scientific, even though now we're starting to find out that the Bible was way more accurate about a lot of things that we didn't learn. Science didn't know at the time. Life is in the blood. I mean, there's a lot of examples. The stars are limitless, and you can't count. We can count stars, and then telescopes a little bigger, but the Bible, thousands of years has said that. There's many examples of it's not a science book, but there are plenty of examples of how the Bible ended up being right before our human minds got around to it, figuring it out. Okay, so could be alien interference. Well, those pesky rascals are always up there. They're always up there. I have a feeling, I've seen some very interesting stuff on Instagram. I don't know, maybe I could pull something up in a little bit that shows this cloaking device. There's this. I don't know too much about this yet because I'm just kind of finding out about this stuff. But there's this glass, a material like a glass. It acts like a prism though, and it has a name, something with a D. Maybe you guys in the chat know it's like D. Desasis, or I could be off with the name, but it acts as a certain kind of prism. And when you hold it up to, in this case, this guy was holding up to the sky. He was showing on the camera how he lifted up, and all of a sudden these UFOs would appear, and he would take it down, and they would disappear. It's almost like They Live. This is where I think they got the idea from. They Live. If you guys know the movie with Rowdy Piper, he had these glasses, and something was in the lens that revealed a world that wasn't there to the normal light spectrum. There's something about the light that bends it. It cloaks these things or adds a disguise. And you wonder, where did they get this idea? Fantastical idea. Well, now I've seen this video where this guy actually has this kind of glass, and it's somewhere over in Europe. It's not America. And I was kind of going through the comments, see what people were saying, and I guess people know about this. It's some material that does exist, and it is illegal. It is illegal in the United States. You cannot buy this or own this certain material, a certain kind of glass. So very interesting stuff. I don't know. Why is it illegal? Well, if it actually is showing these cloaked UFOs, that's one reason. That's a long-winded response to you. They could be up there, and they could be causing interference. And I think, indeed, in many cases, they might be. They might be. But who are they? Where do they come from? Mr. Batsu, what's going on? At least it's just him running a little late. I was worried he got raptured. Oh, God willing. Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. Maybe by the end of the show. Who knows? Maybe during the show. You never know. It can happen at any time. Nothing else has to, prophetically, nothing else has to happen for a rapture. Now, that's a whole heated debate too. One of the biggest in Christianity right now is, this idea of the rapture. Is it pre-tribulation? Is it mid-tribulation? Is it post-tribulation? Or is there no rapture at all? Now I've studied every angle of this, and I went back and forth between pre and mid. I've kind of settled on, I believe it's pre, but I'm open to, if it doesn't happen, and we have to go through it or some of it, so be it. But I find the most evidence and the most logical position to be pre-tribulation. But that's just me. If you have a different opinion, it's fine, but that's a heated, man, that'll get people very angry and arguing with each other. And, that kind of stuff's it's not a salvation kind of issue. It's not as important, as Christians, we shouldn't be arguing about that stuff, but it's fun to talk about. But if it's going to cause arguments, that's like, all right, you know what? Forget. You just believe what you believe, and it's fine, just the internet getting raptured. Yeah. Perhaps an exorcism. Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. I have an article I'm going to pull up about exorcisms. They're on the rise. So how do you like that? A little foreboding. Sarah Sharp. Welcome, Sarah Sharp. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. Welcome. Chat jumped on me. What? Okay. Here we go. Have to have black and white. Yes. Because we respect all. Yes, that's right. It's just it just suits the show. If I had to, I'd do it without. But Apocalypse must be close with all these problems. Yeah, we're gonna go through 50. Talk about the problems and what I see as the issue. That there are no solutions. That's basically it. But I've got 50 reasons why we're living in the end times pulled up here too. So we're gonna go through that and talk about some of those reasons and how it can. Great. What's up, Tommy? Welcome, Tommy. Thanks for joining us, guys. Go show Tommy some love. YouTube is it's being YouTube with it does it with a lot of channels. And they're really targeting Tommy. So if you guys haven't subbed to Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, go sub to him and Vinny Art. I'm very excited when they start their show. They're going to be doing a retro 80s. I think it's going to be most Tommy, if that's correct, and kind of going through the whole 80s retro figure, action figure heyday. I mean, it really was the heyday because so many action figures now are just like re-editions of the ones that we grew up with in the 80s because they were the best. 80s and 90s, 90s too. And then they kind of just, I don't know, they just stopped being very cool. Sometimes, I mean, there's still some cool ones now. There's cool ones, and they look a little more articulated. Some of the the collectors ones, those are cool. But the cheap ones, they were better then. The cheap ones were better then than the cheap ones now. That's what I believe. But anyway, yeah. So go, Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective. Definitely, I'm looking forward to you and Vinny that show because you guys both do great 80s character reviews, and I think it's gonna be a great show. Hello, A Hobo Railroad. A Hobo Railroad. Welcome. It's quite a name there. A Hobo Railroad. Yeah, that's I guess the railroad is the abode of a hobo. Well, welcome. Anyone else I'm missing here? Let's see. Put the glasses on. I would, if I had them, man. Once it's like red pilling, right? Once you put those on, if you saw the world, ooh, I don't know. I would put, because I already believe it's I already believe all that stuff is there anyway. We just can't see it. But yeah, I think it'd be crazy to put those on. You'd never view anything the same. Even knowing it's there, seeing it, it's just a different thing, right? It's just a different thing. But I think I would. Would you guys put if you had the They Live glasses, and you saw, what we're not supposed to see or what we're being shielded, I guess is a better way of putting it. Would you put the glasses on if you had the opportunity? Thinking of all the stuff you'd see, maybe people or you never know what you might see, what you might encounter. It changes the perspective you have of the world. So it's, think about it. But would you put them on? I would have to say, yeah, I would. I remember people saying it's strange there was no historical evidence for King David. Yeah, in archaeology proving the Bible wrong till they discovered evidence of archaeology of King David. Yeah, number one for Bible. Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a lot of cases of that, of things that they didn't know. There's no record of it, and then they dig up a tablet, and it explains. It lists like the kings of different. It was a lot of what's the one group? There's one of Israel's enemies. Gosh, who was it? It wasn't the Canaanites. It was one of Israel's main enemies, and they didn't even think that they didn't think that group actually existed until about the 50s or so, and they dug up a tablet, and it had the kings, it had the region they lived, it had everything. It's like, well, there you go, proves it. Yeah, but that's a great example too, King David. I mean, Solomon's temple, Solomon's temple, we know that existed. Solomon was King David's son, so how would you not think King David existed? If the remains of the temple are still there, they're still underneath the Temple Mount. I mean, it's called the Temple Mount, Anyway, yeah, but people like to argue with, trying to prove it wrong, and then it's slowly but surely, science and archaeology are starting to prove it more and more accurate, more and more true. People trying to Parrot Head. What's going on, Parrot Head? Exercise the bug. Yeah, which bug? Yeah, the beer bug or another bug? I mean, there's so many, right? There's so many varieties of. There's beer bug light. There's beer bug plus. There's literally. I read something. Delta plus. That's one that's coming out of I don't know somewhere. I don't know it's Europe or India. Might be India. It's Delta plus. When Delta just isn't strong enough to get the job done. Introducing plus. You can't make. We're living in, I believe, but I think maybe CERN did something, opened up a wacky universe that collided with ours, and everything. Parody world has just become, not parrot world. Sorry, parrot head, not parrot world. Parody world has become a reality. Hail, Angelus Draven. Welcome, Angelus Draven. Welcome. Yeah, YouTube discriminates against guinea pigs. Yeah, it seems to be the case. They seem to have an anti-guinea pig agenda. I don't know why. It's unfair. Yes, correct, sir. Retro toys and cartoons. Awesome. I mean, that's the best. Yeah, that's the best. Best stuff of the 80s. My entire childhood was action figures and cartoons of the 80s. And Star Wars. Although they did have the Droids cartoon. But yeah. That's pretty sums up, which is why I'm so freaking upset. I know we've talked about, everyone's done their He-Man videos to death. I didn't pull one out because I'm not really doing that with the channel, but I may have talked about it a little bit on our TR, or the Rogue show, Rogue Entertainment shows on Tuesday, but it really just, man, what they did. I mean, I'm still putting out, I put out a tweet today about it because, there's a talk about maybe Netflix not going with season 2 or part 2, whatever the heck they want to call 5 episodes, season 2. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty upset, as many of us are. Netflix saying that it doesn't matter and blah blah blah. But see, again, even what they're doing with entertainment, this is again why I got so interested in how the Last Jedi handled Star Wars. You start, seeing these agendas being pushed because this stuff all ties into what I believe are the agendas of the last days. Where we are turning society on its head, wrong being right, right being wrong, just subversion of culture. It's all there. That's why I think it's so fascinating to study this stuff in entertainment, not only because they're ruining stuff that we loved, but they have an agenda that's building into this ultimate plan that they have for, the earth, going into the tribulation period. And yeah, man, He-Man. Yeah, He-Man. I'm definitely fit into that. Definitely fits into that. They're trying to bring down, the switching of the gender classes, gender rules, the whole idea of an androgyny. I mean, this stuff goes back, like, you think of it as like, well, I mean, from our time, from what most of us are used to. I was big in the 70s. You had Bowie and all those, the Mick Jagger, all the kind of the glam rock, T-Rex, all that stuff was going on. And it was very kind of gender bending, Iggy Pop, this stuff was all playing with these ideas, And I mean, I love that kind of music. I love Bowie and the music and stuff. But like when you start getting into you start kind of peeling the onion, and figuring out like, well, what was the agenda here? What were they really pushing? You start realizing this stuff kind of, well, man, this actually ties into something that's very ancient and pagan. A lot of these ancient gods, pagan gods, are, I guess I should say, are very androgynous. They have different, the male, the female parts, the genital parts on their body. Like, it was very androgynous. So this stuff isn't anything new. Like, most of everything that's happening right now has happened for a very, very long time. It goes back, thousands and thousands of years, and it's just repackaged every so often. It's repackaged for that culture, but now we're seeing it pushed like, I mean, never before. It's because it's not just that, it's everything combined. You start seeing this picture of where we're headed as a planet. And it's so obvious now. 10 years ago, I saw this stuff because I was studying this stuff, but most people were still asleep and they didn't know what the heck was going on. They just thought, it's just culture, or, oh, it's just normal this or normal that. You'd make excuses saying, well, the world always goes through phases. Well, this and that. But now people are actually waking up saying, no, this is something that's like beyond just the normal, this happens every now and then. Oh, there's always wars. There's always this. There's always, big climate changing times. But there's never been everything that's happening at once, one push. There's never been a world government or a world control system like we're seeing kind of the push towards now. You could say Rome but Rome didn't control Earth. It most of the Europe where they were at, but it didn't control everything because over here in the Americas, the theories that the Canaanites, aka the Phoenicians, had moved over here, and they were already occupying this area when the indigenous people were here, but that had nothing to, like, Rome had nothing to do with, but now it's a different story. Now the whole world is literally connected. Not only can we send messages, and I mean, you guys, I don't know where some of you might be over in the other side of the planet right now tonight watching this. Instantaneously, I can get you information. That never happened before. If something happens in the world today, an earthquake anywhere in the world, I can set my phone up to let me know where it is, what the magnitude was. Within minutes, I'll know. There was a prophecy about earthquakes in diverse places happening. That was one that Jesus gave. There'll be earthquakes in diverse places. What an odd prophecy to give 2,000 years ago when you would have no idea if Papua New Guinea had an earthquake. They have no idea. That's a diverse place. Now we know within minutes. We know. The whole world knows. So, that's these little things that could not have happened prior to the modern age, digital age. We'll talk about the mark of the beast a little bit. Could never have happened before. Now, digitally, it's very easy. Very easy. Let me keep going with the chat. Sorry, I'm talking so much here that I'm not really keeping up with the chat. You could use a pair of the glasses, so you'd use them, RR? Well, yeah, they're very tempting, I guess, right? To see the world that, although I guess there is a reason we are not supposed to be seeing it. We're probably not equipped to deal with it. So I don't know. It's like that, it might change you might go crazy. It might make you mad. You might see Nephilim. Yes. Another monster. Welcome. Yeah, you might. I don't know if you really need, I don't know if you need the glasses to see them though, because they were a hybrid race, so they were not like you could see them. I mean, of course, I don't know now if they are using some kind of distortion. Yeah, they could be masked. I guess they could be. That's true. That's true. Mr. Batsu, glasses to see the truth or live in a lie. That's like the red pill, blue pill. Yeah, it is. It is. Maybe that's all. That's also where the Matrix got that idea. For sure, that's the same thing that they live. I mean, it's the same thing. Put the glasses on, do you see clearly, or do you want to live in your little comfortable, lie, I guess, because it is technically a lie. Much of this world, we think we have this illusion of reality, but it's not. It's not real. I'd want to see my ex-wives through them. Oh man. Oh, you want to see your ex-wives through them? Are you saying because they're demons, or I'm not is that what you're saying? You're gonna see through them because they're not they're evil? Yes, they are. Yes, they are the enemies of humanity. They are indeed the enemies of humanity. Yeah. When the black guinea pig comes through, all the veggies will vanish from the face of the earth. Is that like the four guinea pigs of the apocalypse? Even if you don't believe in the divine influences of the Bible, there's still a lot of history recorded in it. Yes, there is. I mean, even without that's the thing. When I actually took about a year, this was about 2008, I'd say, because I grew up kind of, as a family, my family growing up, we were Presbyterian. We went to church every now and then. It was Christmas and Easter for sure. Christmas Eve. And then every now and then we'd go, but we weren't as consistent as we should. You should be. But we believed, but it was kind of like, maybe, probably, I don't know. I'd read the Bible every now and then, didn't understand most of it, but I was young too. And I got really into the UFOs. I was very into all of that stuff. So I started kind of turning away from, well, I don't know about God. There's probably a God, but it's probably like, an all-powerful force. It was very New Age, I guess you could say. It was an all-powerful force, and maybe Jesus was, I don't know, maybe he's spiritual. Yeah, maybe there was someone, I don't know, that kind of. And 2008, I was in New York 11, I was there 11, and that changed things. It obviously changed the planet, but being there and seeing what I was seeing, I was like, wow, this isn't normal life anymore, and then 2008, the market crashed, and that was and it crashed like by 777 points, like, whoa, that's 777. That's kind of a big sign by God there, this is the godly numbers there. So I remember watching a history show. I think it was a History Channel, and it was like the prophecies of the Bible, Armageddon, are we in the end times kind of thing. And I thought, okay, I remember I read Revelation when I was a kid. I didn't understand any of it, but I thought it was fascinating, scary. There's like dragons and pits and beasts and creatures and, judgments. And so I was watching the show, and I'm listening to what they're saying. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. Some of this stuff kind of maybe correlates, maybe makes sense. So I took about a year in 2008 and kind of just did a deep dive into my faith. I was like, what do I believe? Do I believe what the Bible says, or don't I? Because I can't be this like maybe not. I have to know, I got to know. Do I really believe it? Why do I believe it? Can I prove it wrong? So I did a year of studying, just found a bunch of different sources. I'll tell you, one was, back then it was J.R. Church and Gary Stearman. They did Prophecy in the News. And that's how I found out about L.A. Marzulli, who's like, one of my favorite kind of prophetic researchers. He's the guy for the Nephilim. He's the guy. Him and Steve Quayle, Timothy Alberino. But but L.A. Marzulli's kind of the guy. But I found out about them through J.R. Church and Gary Stearman. And I just did a lot of researching online, like read the Bible, reading commentaries, pro and con, just got into the archaeology and what have they proven? What have they found? Read a book. I've read several books. The one Case for Christ is fantastic by Lee Strauss or Lee Straussman. Lee Strauss, I think his name is. But Case for Christ, fantastic book. It was a Jewish guy. He was married to a Christian. He wasn't even really Jewish. He was Jewish by like nationality. He was not really faith or practicing. And he decided he was so sick of hearing his wife trying to get him to convert to Christian. I'll just come to church. Just, I wish you'd do this. And he saw his wife changing. He saw his wife changing, who she was, started to change. And it irritated him. So he went on a mission to try to prove that the Bible was wrong, because he was investigative. He was a journalist for, I think, Chicago Tribune or something, a big newspaper. A guy was like credentials. And he went on a journey to he interviewed people, theologians like from all over the map, trying to prove that the Bible was wrong. And so I kind of did the same thing. I was, this was like a year long. It wasn't like I didn't write a book or anything, but I read his book, and he ended up, by the end of it, he couldn't prove it. He decided there was too much evidence stacked in favor of the Bible than not. So there was so much concrete evidence that the kind of miracle things, it was only logical to believe that they had to happen, because there was so much evidence of what people did, how they acted, decisions they made, that it wouldn't have made sense had those miracles not happened. So like, you kind of, even in the Bible, it still takes a leap of faith. You could have all the evidence in the world. You still have to have that faith, but there's so much evidence. If you want to, if you really take a look, like a unbiased, unprejudiced look at it, there's plenty of evidence, enough that, you could, if you really take the time, you could take that leap and be like, okay, I believe the walking on water because all this other stuff only leads to that conclusion. I believe the resurrection because all these people would not have given their lives. They wouldn't, you don't keep a lie. There's just so many things that had to happen, So there's just a lot of that, the evidence building up so that the supernatural kind of stuff. And now, I mean, even with science, we're starting to prove some of that stuff is like, well, it's not that far-fetched now anyway, even as 10, 15 years ago. It's starting to become even more and more realistic. So, again, that's why kind of science is starting to prove more of the Bible. But that's kind of what I did. I just kind of came to the same conclusion. I thought, well, if I could prove it wrong, then I can't really fully believe it. And I mean, I couldn't prove it wrong. I ended up I give it. I believe I can't. But yeah. Anyway, that's how I kind of got into it, because of a lot of history recorded in it. That's really what helped me get there, because I kind of need facts, and evidence for things. First, I need to know, like, logically it makes sense, and then I can kind of reach out and believe, well, spiritually, or the miracles. It's not far-fetched because there's enough logical, concrete evidence there. So yeah, Drew, what's going on, Drew? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I just decided I was not even really going to do a show because I was busy this week and I hadn't really planned anything. I didn't have time to plan anything, so I wasn't going to do one. And then my wife was like, with everything going on right now, why don't you just talk about the end times and, why you think it's basically talk about everything that I talk her ear off every night talking about, where she came. She's like, okay, enough. I know. So like, yeah, go tell them. So yeah, I was like, okay, we'll just spur the moment. I thought it'd be better just, me. I didn't want to have any guests or co-hosts tonight, since it, wasn't really planned. I thought, well, it's just kind of off the cuff. I'm just kind of gonna go anywhere, talk about wherever the conversation leads. But next week I have an idea for a show though, so we'll get everybody back on next week. Jeremiah actually has a lot of parallels to what's happening in the world. Yeah. There's a lot of parallels to what's happening in the world. I got 50 reasons here we'll bring up in a second. Yeah, your new Delta Plus is named Flounder. It's just the ridiculous Delta Plus. It's just to name it that. It's like, are they intentionally just toying with us now? Let's see how many people buy this one. I mean, I don't want to make obviously it is real, that there is stuff going on. It is real. I'm not dismissing the whole thing, but yeah, it's just the naming choice. Like, I don't know. Wouldn't it just be a different strain? If it's if there's something different about it, wouldn't that make it a different strain? You just add a plus after it? I mean, what's the difference between the first strain we had in the Delta or the Beta, or what's the next one they're coming out with? Something, I don't know, Zeta Reticuli, the star run out of sorority and frat houses to name it after. It's the inversion of life, which is evil. Yeah. It's the inversion of life. Yeah, that's true. Anything? Let's see. Yes, Tommy. That's a great comment. I remember 15 years ago. Yep, when they were canceling simple shit like saying Merry Christmas. Yeah, they were trying to ban saying Merry Christmas. Oh, it's not inclusive. Yeah, that's right. It started. Yeah, it started back then, very subtly. Now it's out out in the open. I mean, it started before. Like I said, in the 70s. I mean, it started before the 60s movement. For as much as I love 60s music and the whole, I mean, it was a very exciting time. A lot of this stuff started seeding then, because you talk to people who grew up in the 40s and 50s, and I mean, it was just a different world completely. Completely different world. And the 60s started changing things, 70s, 80s, it started progressing. But yeah, they were trying to do that. I remember that. Crazy. Can't say Merry Christmas. Of course, it's just it's not always, but in many cases, it's usually the Christian stuff that they try to get rid of. It's like the other stuff, other religions, oh, that's fine, and say whatever you want. But Christians, Christmas, oh, no, not allowed. Oh, why? Why is such a, hatred towards Christians or Christ, and not all the other, religions. Because you do see it a lot. I mean, obviously, I think it's because there's something inside of all of us which either we are striving to get towards or we're trying to fight away. And Jesus is that. He's the plumb line. He's the plumb line. I think it's the right reference. He's the plumb line. Yeah. Jesus is the plumb line. It's either you're with him. Well, even he said you're either with me or you're against me. Yeah, you can't. There's no sitting on the fence, and I think that's why there is this animosity. Plus, then you get into like these secret societies and this kind of stuff, and their belief. And I think it's because they know he's real, because what they worship they know is real, and if what they worship they believe is real, then they have then the other side has to be real as well. So they've just got this distorted view of things. Which I believe they're being deceived into, but they know that's why there's such a anger towards Christ, to Jesus, because they know he's real. Awesome one. What's going on? Hey, what's up? Watching Praise and Worship live from a park in Portland. Wow, you're in a park in Portland watching Praise and Worship live? Oh, man. Cool. Very cool. I've got friends up in Portland. I mean, I don't know, after last summer, all the stuff going on in Portland, it just kind of wanted to stay away from it. But I mean, they love it there. I think they're outside though. They're not like right in downtown or anything. But it's a place I wanted to visit, until last summer. And like, well, maybe that's not the best place to go. But I don't know. You like it up there, Awesome One? The world today, how dark, you ask? Oh, yeah, exactly. How dare you ask for an ID to vote, but you got to show your proof to get in the restaurant? Yeah, I know. The jumping back and forth and using whatever suits you at the time. There's no logic. It's just completely illogical. It's completely illogical. No matter what, and I've heard the arguments for, well, that's a different story because, first of all, it's hard to get ID to vote. It's only certain places, and you got to maybe have to travel, and, it's not convenient for everyone. And, for the what should we call it? The Sniffles ID. I don't want to say the words, the forbidden words on YouTube. The Sniffles ID, the Sniffles proof, it's easy. Everyone can get it. That's not true. That's not true. They could easily come up, if they can come up with this, a Sniffles ID, they can easily make sure people could get, IDs to vote if they wanted to. It's simple. It's not that hard. Think of what we just went through last year and how they've rearranging the whole medical system for this. And you're going to tell me they can't find a way to get everyone an ID to vote if they wanted? Nonsense. But yeah, the great point. People from Christ times said they would love to live in the times, experience the end times. Yeah. I guess that's like, you'd love to live in it, experience it until you are, and you're like, oh man, this is terrible. It's a lot worse. I should have never said that. Because there are people that like, oh, I can't wait for. I've thought this before too, honestly. Like, oh, I can't wait for this to happen. I can't wait to, to see this occurring, because it is in a way, I'm going to see like living in one of the, other than Jesus, the time that Jesus was alive, the most exciting time in history, because this stuff has all been like we are the generation. If we are indeed in the end times, of course, which is what I believe, so I'm going to just say we are the generation. But of course, that depends on whether we are or not, but I believe we are. That we are the generation that will see these things. We are seeing these things. So, we are seeing these things come to pass. Prophecies that were written thousands of years ago. Bible was like 400 authors, over a 1,000-year period of writing. I mean, it's incredible, and they were all telling one story. They were all pointing to certain events that we are now seeing come to pass. So it's it's incredible. So I can see why they'd want to say, yeah, I wish I could live in those times. But when you have to actually go through it, it's not that fun. I mean, how I pine for the days of the simplicity of the 80s and 90s again, especially in entertainment. Come on, it's not fun seeing He-Man kicked out of his own show, sidelined his own show. Even the 2002 version had done it, pretty good, pretty right. I like that 2002 version. I've been watching that recently, and yeah, it's good. It's a good version. Civilizations are influenced by cosmic cycles of birth and death. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you think about how like America hasn't even been around. That we're just 200 plus years old. Not that long, And you think of the scope of things, civilizations, the rise and fall, they lasted. I mean, Rome, let's see, they were 1,000 plus years, I think, of ruling, and we've had 200 years, and we're already in the having the problems that we are having now. It didn't last that long. Of course, there is more of a push towards something now than there was back then. These are the same idiots that tell you it's not your choice to determine what you put in your body, vaccine, but then they cry about it. But well, yes, that's a perfect. I brought that up. It's a perfect example. It's only your body, or it's only your choice when it's depends on when it matters to them, basically. As soon as it goes against what they want, no, it's not your choice anymore. It's not your body. It's you're harming everyone. Well, that's the other thing. You're harming everyone. You're harming everyone. But so are the people who have the sniffles, the sniffles V. That you can still spread it. So I don't get it. You can still get it. You can still spread it. So how is it being more harmful? It really should be, my choice. But logic, the truth, no matter how harsh, is always preferable to living in ignorance, but there is always a price to pay for knowledge. Yeah, always a price to pay for knowledge. Yeah, which is why I think humanity made a deal with these fallen ones, thousands of years ago, to get this knowledge, this technology. That's why we see this incredible technology in the past that we don't know. We don't know where it came from, because they made a deal. It came from outside of our spiritual realm, our realm, I guess I could say, our dimension. Soul Assassin, what's going on? Howdy to you. I doubt we're in the end times, but we are going through some troubling times. Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard to want to believe that you might be, but I mean, I don't, I think we are, but if there's always a possibility we're not there yet. Other generations have thought we were too. Although when you look at all the things that there were still prophecies that weren't fulfilled yet. Now there aren't any, but still, you never know. It could be stretched out. It could last longer than we think. So I know, like Flip doesn't necessarily think we are. Drew, he doesn't necessarily think we are, although he can see that we could be. But it's also scary thinking that we are. It's scary to think about. John Talks frozen. Wait, I froze too. I froze, or John Talks froze, or I'm John Talks. Are you saying I'm John Talks? Or did he freeze too? Is he live right now? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus Christ. Yep. No one comes by the Father but by me, is what he said. Yep. Comics Division says China is trying to take over the world. Well, I think they are, but I think they're being used as a kind of a puppet. I think greater forces are using them to, push agendas in a direction, but they're not going to be allowed. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're being used, whether they know it. I don't think they know it, but yeah. Let's see. So you met your shoe salesman that witnessed to Billy Graham. So you met your shoe salesman that witnessed to Billy Graham? Did I miss I don't know what that's a reference to. I'm gonna miss that. A shoe salesman witnessed to Billy Graham? Did not know who he was? The most well-documented supernatural event in history. Yeah. It's the Bible. It's filled with them. Yeah. Many scientists are coming to Christ as science moves them toward him. Yeah. See, that's fascinating too. Yeah, that's fascinating. There's a big movement over in the Middle East right now as well. You know, they don't talk about this stuff on the news. There are a big Christian movement in the Middle East. A lot of people are having sightings, you know, saying that they're seeing Jesus and they're converting. It's crazy, but they're not really talking about it over here. We don't find out about anything that's going on in the rest of the world over here. It's very curated news we have. Science, faith, esoteric knowledge are converging more and more, which fits ancient view of reality. Yeah, see, the ancient view is actually becoming more modern. The ancient view was a modern view. Our view has been kind of archaic, you know, until recently, till modernity, I'd say. We think we're progressing. I think we're regressing. You know, we think we're evolving. I think we're devolving. I think they were smarter and more aware and had a better sense of reality back then. I think we live in a fog. We're dumbed down. I don't think we're progressing or evolving. I think it's the opposite. But, you know, that's just me. I'd say scientists would argue with me, but, you know, hey, based on this comment, maybe not. Maybe they would not argue with me. Science, faith, yeah. See, but that's a good comment. Yeah, they're trying to create cognitive dissonance. Yes, for sure they are. That the confusion. Yeah, they're trying to create cognitive dissonance. They don't want people questioning or, you know, realizing. They don't want them accepting some of the crazy things that are true. You know, that are true. They don't want them accepting it. It's hard to come to a realization about something like that. It changes your whole, you know, you have a paradigm shift, basically. And paradigm shifts are hard for people. It's not easy. You know, those things, it's not easy. It's not easy being green. After what I've seen over the past 6 or 7 years, I've realized anything is possible. Logic has been thrown out the window. Yeah. Yeah. Was wondering if it came out of MS Delta. The Delta Plus? Oh, that's it. Yeah. Lambda. Yeah, that's it. Lambda. That's the next one. Lambda. Yeah. They all sound like frat houses. I always try to break the word down now, like lambda. What is there any meaning towards that? Lamb, sheep. Are you calling us sheep? Maybe. Alien. You know what? I just saw someone was like, alien. What is it? Alien. Break it down. A lie. But alien, it's a lie. They're telling you a lie. Alien. They're telling you in front of your face. Like, oh, wow. I hadn't actually seen that before. Even though I think it is a lie, because I don't think they're from another planet. I think they're interdimensional and they're, you know, demonic or demonically inspired. In leagues with the dark side, I'll say that. I'll say that. In league with the dark side. I think that's what they are. But a lion, alien, a lie, they're a lion to you. I don't know. You know, they like to sometimes show how smart they are by putting things in front of your face. I'm not dissing. I'm not dismissing. It's actually happening. I'm just doubting everything. Yeah, that's exactly. Just questioning things, you know. Well, let's see. Logically, does it make sense? Usually it's like, not really. Have yourself a merry little canceled. Yeah. Have yourself merry little winter festival time of the year. Make it bright, but not too bright. Don't be too happy. Get your sniffle shot. Have you watched Val? No, is it the Val Kilmer? I've heard it's really good, though. I've heard it's fantastic. I do want to watch this. He credits his religious faith as part of his recovery. Highly recommended. No punches held back. Yeah, and shows us. Yeah, with his cancer. I know. I've heard. I just had one of my good friends told me it's fantastic, and I really like Val Kilmer too. I think he's a really great actor. It's sad that because of what's happened with the throat cancer, we haven't really got to see him much. I really want to see him in that Mark Twain. Wish I'd release like a video of that, like a official video of his. He played Mark Twain theatrically on stage, and reviews of it, man, it looks so good. He's a great actor. It's sad what happened to him. He can't really. He's battling a lot now, but yeah, I got to check that out. His face, yeah. I thought he was like a Christian Scientist or something, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not positive. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that though. Thanks for that recommendation, Cavatinho, and welcome also to you. Welcome. But yeah, that'll be on my list. Let's see. Most recently, I've heard people say that. Oh yes, I don't want to read that out loud, obviously, because of the algorithm. But yes, teachers were trying to promote this idea that it would be good for them to see this, to get used to it, to get a clean, healthy version. It's insanity, like just insanity, raging lunacy. What the Bible describes, the end times will be raging lunacy. I mean, that is it. Hey, Clown World Review, welcome. First time on the internet. Oh, welcome. It's a marvelous device, this internet. A marvelous device. Oh, I just, you just feel right at home. But, be careful because you could become addicted. It could cause addiction. They hated me before they hated you. Yeah, right. That's what he says. Take comfort. If they hate you, take comfort in it, because they hated me before they hated you, and he overcame the world. So, I mean, ultimately, he's already won. Like, it's a done deal. He already won. We just have to let it play out, and it's not going to be good, the way it has to play out. But ultimately, he already won. There's no worry that he's going to lose. It's already done. Before the foundation of the world, he had already won. It was already a plan. And the fallen ones, didn't see it. They thought they won. At Calvary, they thought that was it. They got him. Checkmate. God said, checkmate. Never saw it coming. I don't mean to brag, but I hit the like button. Oh, you braggart. How dare you? How dare you show off how smart and intelligent you are? What a great first-time user of the internet you are for hitting that like button. How dare you show people and tell people what a lovely person you are. Intelligent and wise for hitting that smart button. That like button. You should call it the smart button, because only smart people hit it. Hit that like button, everyone. Be smart, like Clown World Review. It's beautiful in Oregon and Washington State. It's a shame it's been hijacked. Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit ago. Portland. And I've been to Seattle. I like Seattle a lot. It was not as rainy as I thought it was going to be. I was kind of looking forward to all this rain. We only got rain a little bit for a few hours out of the few days we were there. But it was very pretty. I liked it. It was relaxing. It felt very relaxing, especially leave the city that I'm living in. It's very relaxing, but not anymore, I guess. Well, it has its moments, I guess, here and there. Group does worship in worst places of town, then walks through singing and praying for town. Okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. Where you are, you go through and sing and pray for the town. That's great. Hey, man, prayer walks. That's really good. That's nice. It's a beautiful thing. Group does worship in worst parts of town, then walks through town singing and praying for the town. Wow, that's great, man. Yeah, you should go live with that. Stream some of that. There's probably people would really like to see it. That's good though. Now they're promoting shirts that have your Yeah, Jesus sounds familiar. Yeah, right. I know. It's crazy. Gina Carano, didn't she say something kind of referencing something like that? And Now we see this happening. I don't know. I do know. We all know. But yeah, it's crazy. Chat jumped on me again. Oh yeah, okay. Here we go. Tommy, I've said there are parallels to the Sniffles V and the Mark of the Beast. Yeah, it's like a trial run. It's like a precursor trial run. There are, I mean, the ability to buy and sell and trade. No one without the mark could do that. I mean, look what they're trying to do with this. Not that this is, but because that's a different. It can't be yet, because there's no Antichrist on the scene, and it won't start until he's, literally ruling. Plus, it has to be a willful choice. You have to, what you're taking, and then it's a willful choice to worship too. It's not just like something to be able to, it's going to be a very has to be a willful choice, and it's going to involve worshiping the beast. So, it's, don't worry about this being it, but this is definitely a precursor of, test run, getting people, the frog in boiling water, drop a frog in boiling water, he's going to jump in, but drop him in lukewarm water and slowly turn the heat up till it starts to boil. The frog will die because it doesn't realize. All of a sudden it's in the boiling water, dead. So that's what I kind of think this sort of is. Wish you could say more, but you can't. Got to be careful what we say on the tube of you. I don't know who you is, not me. The narrative globalists are pushing is breaking down, so they would double down on the tyranny. Well, that's the thing. People resisting, waking up. They got to put the foot down. Well, technically, we're on Friday, as Earth is about 6,000 years, and Christ promised rest for 1,000 years on Sunday or on Saturday. Yes, we're like one day before. Yeah, I think we're right at the end of the dispensation. Where that seventh day, the day of rest is coming. That would be reign, right? That's the 1,000 years of the millennial reign of Christ. So we're like right on that. Right about to switch the dispensation over to the 1,000 years, which will be perfect. It will, almost perfect, not entirely perfect, almost perfect, because there's still going to be an uprising. Satan, Lucifer, is still going to be, after the 1,000 years is over, they're going to let him out of the pit for one last attempt at rebellion. So it's not going to be perfect yet, but it's going to be pretty much, as perfect as the world has ever been. But after the millennial reign, the eternity, after the great, the throne judgment, that will be perfection, because it's the New Jerusalem. I think it's going to be a dimensional, like a combining of the dimensions. The heavenly realm and the earthly realm are going to combine. You literally will be living with the presence of God. I mean, during the millennial reign, Jesus will be on earth, so you'll be living with Jesus. But the millennial reign will be like the combination. A new earth is formed. It's going to be a whole new, brand new thing. So that will be perfection. It'll be every tear is wiped away, every eye's dried. There will be no more suffering, sorrow, just be joy. We can't comprehend it. Even the Bible's, it ends with like no eye is seen or ear is heard, or mind of man has thought the things that God has in store for those who love Him. We can't even conceive it. That's why there's descriptions about the millennial reign a little bit here and there, but eternity says you can't even understand it. We don't even know what it's like, because we've only been living in this world of, suffering and pain. I mean, obviously more people have, there's more suffering and pain. It's not a fair world. Clearly it's not a fair world. Again, another reason we're in the fallen dimension, because we're not in a fair world. The place is not created to be right by everyone. But that's free will. It's free will. But eventually, everyone will be very aware of who's in charge, who's the boss. It doesn't have to be the end times to be the end of America. No, it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't. I mean, America is not really listed in prophecy, although there's some references to the eagle. I mean, there are some references that probably are America because nothing else really makes sense. But it's not really. It's not a major player in the end times, the whole dynamic of the end times. So, but there are different reasons that could be. We could falter. We could be destroyed, or the rapture could happen. I mean, thinking of most, a huge, large amount of Christians are in America, and if there was a rapture, say, and again, I don't want to get into specifics about like what the rapture is, who goes, who does. Just if there is one, pre-tribulation, say, okay, and a good amount of a large amount of the country who are believing Christians, not just identify, but if you actually believe, you actually put your faith in Christ, ask Him in your life, trust Him. Above all else, nothing else. No one else is going to come and save us. It's only Him. If you believe that, and that will have a very big, a very big vulnerability to the country. So I could easily see the country falling apart or joining European Union, although it could be turned into something else at that point. Because the Antichrist, the 10 kings, there'll be other people ruling. So America could get swallowed up into a bigger nation. Maybe that's why, there's a lot of possibilities as to how things can turn out here. But especially seeing the way things are trending now. But if there was a rapture and it did take place before the tribulation, I could easily see, a vulnerability to America to either be taken out or swallowed up by another nation. So there are possibilities. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the end. It could just be the end of America, but that also could too. Looks my screen's freezing up a little bit here. World's too big for China to control, and people will rebel. Yeah, it has to be more. Yeah, it has to be more. It's got to be more than that. It can't be them alone. Yeah, China has a big. Yeah, exactly. It has a huge church, a huge underground church right now. Usually in places of persecution is where, the faith really, really gets set on fire. Which, America has become, complacent. So you do see, the situation we're in. I mean, America's become kind of comfortable. The church. Comfortable, complacent, pastors don't talk about the end times really. I mean, very few do. It's not mainstream at all. They don't talk about the UFO phenomenon at all, hardly, again, few do. It's not mainstream by any stretch of the imagination. It's very limited. And that's a detriment to Christianity. It's a detriment to the time we live in, because if you just pretend like it doesn't exist, then you have people questioning things, and they're going to find answers elsewhere. They're going to walk away from the faith because they're going to, there's no answers. Christianity has no answers for this. I'm out, but which is not true at all. There are it's all over the Bible. It's all over history, this stuff. But you have to understand it. You have to understand prophecy. You have to understand where we were. You have to understand what happened, before in the Genesis. The Book of Enoch describes this stuff. Although not canon, it is Ethiopian canon, but it's not canon. It's referenced. Bible references it. It's obviously telling a bigger story here. And if you understand that stuff, then all of a sudden everything else kind of falls into place. You can understand, the agenda of the aliens, the aliens. What are they trying to do? What does everyone say they do? A reproductive DNA. They took sperm. They took ovum, hybridization. Well, that's everything that happened in the days of Noah. So, there you go. It's the same thing. It's just repackaged as Space Brothers because we're in the scientific age of reason and enlightenment, even though I think we're dumbed down. But, the irony of life. So that's what I think about that. Probably going to do another dark age like one's 1100 BC in the Middle Era, possibly now. Probably going to go into another. Oh yeah, well that kind of plays in my idea of being dumbed down. I mean, I think they'd like to get us there. I think That would be a push for them. Yeah. Those pushing the jabs definitely are using biblical prophecy. The reason as to why is up for debate, but it's well documented. They practice called. Yeah, well, it is well documented. It is well documented. Ale and lion. That's a more fun version of it than a lie. Yeah, ale and lion. Yeah, yeah. From what I hear, it's all demons and Nephilim. Of course. Of course. Well, it is. Well, and fallen. The fallen ones. I mean, they're ultimately the ones that are, behind this stuff. The fallen entities who have taken worship throughout history as the gods and deities of different cultures. You look in describing same gods, little g, just again repackaged for different cultures, and they fight. So one takes over. This one was in charge here, but then in this culture, this one's in charge. Maybe because they're given domain, they're given areas to kind of control on the earth right now, and of course they're jealous. I mean, that's why they started this whole thing against humanity, jealousy. So they're also jealous with each other. They also try to pine for position. They fight for position with each other. We are getting close when the satellites are about to fall from orbit. Isn't there a satellite coming down towards us sometime? Like, was it? Yeah, I don't know. Was it this fall or something? It was one of China's satellites was hurling towards the Earth, and they're not sure where it's going to land. I think it's, I don't know, this fall or maybe it's next year. There is one that's like losing orbit, and it's going to come hurling towards the Earth, and they don't know where it's going to land. Great. I think kids discover about by finding doing magazines. Yeah, the old-fashioned way, the old-fashioned way. Tradition. It just takes our faith, and it's all good. Yeah. Mike, oh boy. I don't know what that's a reference to, but it's a good comment. This whole conversation could be that way. Hello, Tolbat. Welcome. Sorry I'm late, about an hour behind. That's okay. I've just been ranting. And you can go back and watch it. Oh, I did move all of my previous live streams over to my members. I think they're members only. The show, because the algorithm apparently it judges you if you leave live streams up. From what I've heard, that it doesn't push your videos as much if you have your live streams all public. I don't know why, but I've heard that multiple times from people in our community. So I figured, well, that's a nice perk if you're a member. You can watch all the old live streams. So they're now all in my member section. So you guys can go to if you want to, you can go to my page and there's a membership button there, and you can click that. And I mean it's open for all memberships. So whatever the basic one is, you can watch all the old shows. I'm going to keep the current show up for a week, and then upon the next show, I'll then move this one to the members area. So it gives a perk to members, and then also hopefully it helps the algorithm out because I don't know. I've heard that multiple times now. Don't leave your live streams up, or move them. Make them private or move them off. So I figured that's what I'll do with them. We'll see if it does anything. Let's see what else here. I do want to get into. We've just been talking for an hour. I do have a couple articles here. Any greetings to you, good sir? Well, greetings to you too, Mike. Greetings. Rapture first. Whoop. Yeah. Rapture first, then Antichrist revealed. Yes, that's the pre-tribulation view. Yeah. Rapture first, and then the Antichrist is revealed. Possibly, we don't know the time period. There's different ideas. Even within the pre-tribulation view, there are different ideas of when, like how long before the tribulation starts that the rapture happens. Some people believe it's like right as the tribulation starts, like boom, rapture, tribulation, like first judgment. Some people believe it's, maybe 10 days before. Some people believe it's like, it could be like a year, 2 years, 3 years. It could be quite a ways before. A lot of things have to be set up. Some people think, things can be set up very quickly. Although it does seem like it would take some time, but, look how fast the world changed in just a year. So I'm open to any possibility. I'm not like holding to one. Well, it's got to be this, and it's got to be this way, and it has to be, this amount of time before, or it'll be what it'll be. But it is fun to look at. It's fun to look at. But let's see. Mm-hmm. The eagle was also a Roman symbol. Yeah, it was. But it wasn't referring to Rome. It was talking about like a small, I forget the exact passage. It was talking about like an offshoot where the land had been like fertile and green, and it wasn't talking about Rome. It wasn't referencing Rome. Was the city on the seven hills. Rome was just depicted other ways, but the eagle wasn't referring to Rome. It was like the eagle that had come out of the lion or something like that. And it was, associated with America coming out of Britain was kind of how it's interpreted. Yeah, it's in the Old Testament. Yeah, I'm pretty positive it's in the Old Testament. I just don't remember the exact verse. Let's see. A life without suffering. Life without suffering is a gift without equal. It is not something, to be just handed out without earning it. We define ourselves by our more challenges and suffering than through our joy and happiness. That's true. Yeah, I mean, everyone can be great, perfect person when things are going great and well and happy, and you're not struggling. But when the shit hits the fan, it's usually when how do you react to it? Yeah, that's when you're tested, I guess. When you're forged in fire. It says when Moses walked, he was exiled out of Egypt and was stuck in the desert, wandering in the desert. He was being, molded. He was suffering. He's going through tribulation, turmoil, and he was being, worked on. Like God was like using a mallet, just hammering him into form, forming him, getting him ready for what was to come. It is through the fires of life that we're forged, we're turned into hopefully something shiny, and worthy if we survive through and make the right choices. I thought the line in the Bible, "The stars will fall," was meant to be was meant about celebrities, since so many have been passing. Like, no, I don't think it's usually more referencing the little gods, little g gods is usually the stars reference that, the fallen ones. But hey, well, the celebrities, I mean, it could be influence. Well, I think they are ultimately influenced by these fallen stars. But it's not like a reference to celebrities like we think of celebrities. Mm-hmm. Western civilization has become decadent, corrupt, and unmoored from its Christian roots. Time to get back to fundamental truths that got us so far. Yeah, I mean, you look at the world today, and it's, in the 50s, when my parents were growing up, I mean, they had, the summers were, my dad would, tells us stories. Oh, well, we'd leave the neighborhood. We'd have the neighborhood over for dinner. People would just come, neighbors would come in and out. We'd never lock the doors. We'd run around the streets until dark. No one worried. It was so nice. Safe. I mean, just a completely different world. Can you imagine now having kids running around the streets at night? Leaving your door open. I mean, some people do, but would you feel comfortable? I'll leave the door open. Neighbors can come in and out. Whoever's wandering around the streets, kids can go out and play. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to watch them. They'll be safe. They'll be fine. I mean, no, most people don't do that because same world as it was in the 50s. America is not the same place. It's not the same America, and I mean, I only know this from hearing stories. I don't know what, I can only imagine the 50s, how nice that sounds. Although even in the 80s, we did that stuff. We didn't leave the door open though, but we would, we'd be out all day, all night, biking around. We have BMX bikes. We'd go all day and night. We'd come back late at night. It was fine. We always felt safe. Now, obviously, not everyone in the country was like that, but the majority of places in the 80s, like the suburbia, I guess I should say, was relatively safe. And it's not that way anymore. Even suburbia is not as safe as it was, back then. I mean, we'd be out playing flashlight tag, running through the neighborhood, playing flashlight tag. It's like hide and go seek with flashlights, and it was safe. You never worried about, and nothing ever happened. You never worried about it, and there was no reason to. Nothing ever happened. And I don't know any kid that ever got in trouble. Now, of course, that's not always true. Obviously, there's always things that happen, but for the most part, it was pretty safe. But I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't do it now. That's sad. The world is definitely going to turn for the worse. Let's see. That's the problem with those that crave power. They don't like to share it. No, and they never let it. They never. I'll rescind the power I gained. Not likely. Not bloody likely. And they seek to become creators who feel they should be worshipped like a god. It's the height of hubris. Yeah, they take worship for themselves. Well, power what's the power corrupts absolutely, and absolute, or I don't know. I forget how it goes. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, something like that. You know the thing. The power corrupts an absolute. You know the thing. It's a bad Uncle Joe joke. Well, let's get into your articles. Yeah, I know. I do have these articles. Yeah, let's get into them. A rapture of millions of people would alert the world spiritually being real. Yeah, well, that's true too. But again, fall for the lies of the Antichrist. So it says the Satan comes with all kinds of lies and wonder, like all sorts of different lies and assumingly miracles, but they're not miracles. I mean, they are in a way, but they're not from God. It's a deception. There's a deception that's coming. All kinds of lies and lying wonders. There's a deception. So, which is why I think this alien agenda. I think this could be the great deception, because look, they're already setting they're setting the stage for this stuff. Oh, abductions, and people, the New Agers are channeling these entities, and there's like, we're going to come and we're going to take people out of the earth who aren't yet evolved, who aren't ready to go through the next phase of humanity, because the world's all going to be one. It's going to be this joyous, blah, 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 So they're already setting the stage. So a rapture does happen. All these Christians who are, these Christians, why do they believe the Bible? Oh, it's so archaic. Aren't they enlightened enough yet to know the modern age and science and blah 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 blah? So they're gone, right? So to the world who doesn't believe, they're going to think, well, these aliens who said they were going to come and take the people who weren't ready just got rid of all the Christians. Good, send them off to their galactic re-education camps, and then boom, there you go. Antichrist takes over because the world's ready because anyone who would have stood up is gone. Anyone who would have spoken out is gone. So I can see how this, the stage is sort of being set for this already. And then you have the mark of the beast. It's easy because people are probably going to take it because they're already, but then there'll be this tribulation saints who will be the ones who realize, oh crap, what they said is right. I see that now. They said it was going to happen. Now it happened. So people who heard but didn't really believe, maybe on the fence, they're going to be the ones to say, okay, no, I know what's happening now. Why we missed our chance. We got to go through the tribulation now. Absolute hell on earth for, 7 years. Again, that's another topic of whether it's 3.5 or 7 years, or somewhere in between 3.5 and 7 years. It's at least 3.5 years. It's at most 7 years. Let's say that. Could be anywhere in between. But, that they're going to have to go through that, but at least they will be the ones who are the speaking the gospel and standing up during the tribulation. Of course they'll be martyred, it's in the Bible. It's what happens, but yeah. So I could see how it's how the stage has been set for that too. I mean, that's a possibility. You could see it happening. I think I'm like almost caught up with the chat here. So celebrities were our demigods. Yeah, it's modern day. Yeah, our gods, each one of our gods, Luke, He-Man, are all being destroyed. Yeah. But I mean, it's also our symbol of strength, like masculinity. There's a lot to it, but yeah, they're all being destroyed. That's true. They're all being torn down. Yeah. We've lost our moral fiber. Yeah. I was out until dark, and then parents didn't mind as long as I was home for dinner. Yeah, I mean, they knew you were safe. They pretty much trusted you. Now, you think if you're a parent, or if you imagine you were a parent, you think you let your kids go run around at night, playing in the dark, flashlight tag, or biking, or whatever. I don't know. What kids are all on TikTok nowadays, or no one goes out anymore. What am I talking about? No one leaves the house anymore. We're hardly even allowed to. And even if we could, kids are all, zoned into their, again, another problem with kids. They're not kids. They're not going out and playing in the world. They're just stuck on their phones and their iPads. I mean, they're like 2-year-old nephew knows how to operate FaceTime. And it's like, what? It's crazy. He goes through, he scrolls through, and he knows with the apps, he knows the song. I'm like, how do you, 2 years old? It's crazy. Give him a baseball bat, though, and no idea what it is. Oh, of course not. He knows what a baseball bat is, but you get the point. It's probably some kids who don't, though. Probably some kids who don't. You show them dirt, What's this? Jesus loves you. Don't forget it. Yeah, it's a nice name. Notice how some of the world is burning as we speak. Well, like literally burning. Yeah, on fire. The fires are. Yeah, I mean, think of, what was it last year at the beginning of 2020 with the Australian fires? Like all of Australia was burning. Now they're all in lockdown. They've got military and helicopters patrolling the streets, making people stay in their side. They can't even walk outside. They have one case in this town. One case. One person tested positive. They shut down the city, had military going or police going through and forcing people to stay inside the homes. They couldn't walk outside for one case. I mean, absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. You don't do this for the flu. You don't do this for anything else. But yeah, I mean, there are fires all over. It's summertime. There are those fires all over the West Coast right now. Fires over. Remember, was it last year that San Francisco, they had those? It was the beginning of this year. They had the pictures of San Francisco, and it looked like the apocalypse. I mean, it was completely red and orange tints to the sky. It was dark. It was just, I mean, it looked like the end of the world. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's Armageddon. This is the end times." I remember reading that in headlines. Oh yeah, it takes something like that for people to wake up. Sky goes blood red. All of a sudden, people say, "Wait, this is not normal. What's going on here?" Our phones would be magic 100 years ago. Yeah, they would be. They would be. Well, 100 years ago, right? But think, a few thousand years ago, we see these stone structures, these megalithic stone structures that are made of andesite, like the strongest rock on Earth, and they're cut like marshmallows. It looks like they're poured together in these, perfect shapes, and they're so close together, curved somehow, that you can't fit, like a piece of paper won't fit in between them. We can barely do that with lasers, high-powered lasers. We could make it work. Yet somehow they did this, in thousands of years ago. Their technology was more advanced than ours. So yeah, 100 years ago, our phones would be like, whoa, magic. But thousands of years ago, they had something that we consider magic, because how the heck did they do? We have no idea how they did. We don't know. With our technology, we don't know how they did it. That tells you something. They had technology that was way superior to ours. So, think about that. Think, 100 years ago, iPhones would be like, what? That's insane. We've progressed. But compared to ancient times, we've regressed. maybe we're building up to that again, but it's just crazy to think about. Okay, am I caught up here? Am I caught up? Pretty much. Hetty Lamar, what's up, Hetty? Welcome. Good to see you. Jesus said we would not be taken unaware. Yeah, he also said watch the time, watch the signs, be aware of the times in which you live. He criticized the Pharisees and the Sadducees, which were like the religious elite of Jerusalem at the time he walked the earth. He ridiculed them for, he said, the patterns of the weather, you can tell the weather and the patterns and all this stuff, the seasons, you get it, but you aware of the times in which you live. Like, you don't realize that the Messiah is here talking to you, and you're not aware of it. So yeah, we're supposed to be aware. Watchmen on the walls. Be a watchman on the wall. Know the times in which you live. Watch for the signs. Watch for the things Jesus said. The prophecies are there. We're supposed to be expecting, watching, always expecting him to come back, because he can come back at any time. Now, that's more true now than it ever has been, because all the prophecies that kind of needed to be fulfilled before the end times could take place have taken place. So we are actually in that time period now that he literally could come back. But yeah, yeah. Comment though. Mike says, I don't know why it's not lighting up here. Well, I'm going to read it anyway. Oh, there we go. Nah, Antichrist already lost, as you said. Yeah, true. Ultimately, he already lost. It's already a done deal. He will have time. He will have a reign, though. There's a time period where he will get to reign and cause massive destruction. But he already lost. Ultimately, he already lost. He doesn't win. The chips are cashed. The devil doesn't care what you believe in. He's only concerned with who you don't believe in. Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. He doesn't care what you believe in, as long as it's not one person. Yeah, as long as it's not that one person. Yeah, he only cares who you don't believe in. He doesn't want you to believe in that one person. Otherwise, believe whatever you want. Any other religion, whatever you want to believe, fine by him. So, again, you wonder why Christianity's usually the one that seems to be most persecuted. Now, it's not always reported here in America, but in the world, Christians are massively persecuted. Why? That's the answer, Mr. Dugan. Because he doesn't get the rest. That's okay. Believe that. We need to ridicule that. We need to ridicule this because it's the one, the one truth. It's the one thing that matters. Yeah. Okay. Apex. Welcome, Apex Comics. Welcome. Qui-Gon Gimli. Welcome, Qui-Gon. I lived through Y2K and the Mayan calendar thing. That's at least 2 end days bring on the next apocalypse. Well, technically, I don't even like when people say that. Technically, but the Mayan calendar was never, that was misreported. That was more of a news phenomenon than it was an end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And if you look at what the world has become since then, you argue that it's definitely gone into a new cycle. It's never the end of the world, as many people in the media, sensationalized, because obviously that sells, right? But when you actually broke it down and you listen to people who knew how to translate the prophecies, the Mayan predictions, it was an end of a cycle, end of an age. It was not the end of the world. Okay. I'm just glad God got my attention. I was really an atheist at heart before those. You see, God will take situations like this. Sometimes it is these situations that need to occur to wake people up, to keep people out of their slumber. So, yeah, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. This has woken a lot of people up. And you see how far it's divided people, right, in the country, and actually the whole world, because look what's going on in Paris right now, Britain. It's you see how much this is dividing people. So either this wakes you up and you're like, okay, I didn't realize, okay, or you're on the other side where it's like, no, this is how it's supposed to be. Yeah, this is the way we're supposed to be. Finally, we're gonna lock down all these crazy people. So it's dividing. It's waking people up and pushing them farther to one side or the other. It's making it easier. There's references of God separating the chaff from the wheat. So the chaff would be burned up and the wheat would be harvested. I'm not saying this is the case, but you can sort of make an argument that this is sort of separating, separating two different distinct groups. I want to sleep, do my things, walk out the door, and I'm at my destination. Yeah. That would be the ideal life. Just sleep, get up, do what you got to do, get where you need to be. This is Gobleteki. This is a Gobleteki. Yeah, I mean that site shows that we don't know. Our history is not what we're told. That site proves it, because that should be their realization goes. The oldest portions were the most advanced, and it progressed. The complexity of the work diminished. Yeah, see, it degenerated. Yep. That shows not only that that's true, and also that our history is not. We don't know as much as we think we know. We don't know as much as we think we know. Christians must be stopped with all that love thy neighbor and treat others as you treat yourself. Love God amongst number one and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Those two rules always just got terrible. Who would live like that? Yeah, I know. It's literally like, no, Christianity has been used by groups, governments, churches throughout history for evil purposes. It has absolutely been corrupted. You see it all the way through, but that's not. If you read the Bible, it's not what it says. It doesn't say go and it says go and make disciples of all nations, but it doesn't say by force. The Crusades, for as much as it spread Christianity, that was not the intent of the Bible. It says go. I mean, Jesus' directive was go knock on, go to town and knock on the door. And if they don't, and tell them what you have to say, like witness to them. But if they don't want to have anything to do with you, then politely kick the dirt off your feet and move on to the next town or the next house. That's what you're supposed to be doing. It's not like, well, barge in and kick the door down and force them to, listen to you. And they got to listen. It's not that. It's not what the Bible says. So it's been corrupted, but yeah, I mean, the tenets of faith and how you should be living. And I mean, it's all the New Testament, the New Covenant, because the Old Covenant and the commandments, the law, the book of Moses, the law of Moses, is a different thing, different say for different people for a different reason. The New Testament, the New Covenant was a different deal. The law was all fulfilled in Jesus. So some of the stonings and some of the crazy, well, not crazy, but more strict, rules of the law were for specific reasons for specific people at a specific time. And that, so you can't, people also like to use that stuff, the Old Testament, as like look how archaic. It's like, no, you gotta put it in context and reference. Who was to, why, when, because the New Testament's, it's all one book, it's all one story, but the New Covenant is a different deal. It's a different deal. So, the cult of woke is the biggest threat to the world, and the bad thing is unorganized and has no. Yeah, it doesn't have a leader. Well, that's the thing. People are already saying. I had a comment on one of the videos So I put out the video on Converse, the Converse All Stars. Which I loved All Stars growing up. I mean, I still wear them today. Well, to this day. Although now it's a little different. They did this ad campaign for their new shoe, and it's got this, they're using these humans in a position that forms a pentagram, and they have demonic eyes, and it's just crazy stuff. But I have the video there. It's actually my most watched video. It's close to 9,000 views now. It's my number one video I've done, which is crazy. Because I didn't think that at the time. I just like, oh, this is a great story. Put a video on right now, and it happened to get like quick. I guess I got out there before most people did, and it just kind of blew up for me. I mean, I know like some people, put out a video saying hello, and if they get 10K views, no problem. But for me, that's a huge deal. Like, it's probably going to get 10K views. I've gained almost 200 extra subscribers from it. So very thankful for if any one of you guys have found me through that video and you're here in the chat or you're watching this week. I appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Because I was like, it stunned me. But so I did this video, and the comment section, wow, it's just crazy. Most comments are all positive, but there's a few that are, just wacky. And there was one that says, yeah, hey, look, you say all this stuff like, oh, the pentagram is used for, kind of rebellion and, against the establishment, all this stuff. And don't you think it's time that someone took over? It's okay. Don't you think it's time for a leader to come over, come and take over? I'm like, man, that is exactly the point of this. That is exactly why I'm making this video. It is. And it's the Antichrist. The culture, this, Christian culture is primed. They want a leader. They want someone to come and take the reins. And they don't care if it's totalitarian, they don't care because they're already being primed with this whole thing that's happened in the last 2 years. They're being primed for, someone to take over and say, I'm taking over. I got the reins. I got the answers. Here's what we're doing. And people are going to freaking love it, especially when you come off as a hero at first, because he's not going to come off as like I'm Satan incarnate. He's going to come off as like the smooth, I got all the answers. I got it figured out, guys. Don't worry. We're good. We're going to get this thing going again. We're going to get the oil in the wheels. He's going to look like a hero. And I mean, that comment was just like, man, you were saying everything without even realizing it. It's like you're fulfilling prophecy with these comments. But I just, it's like, oh, man, so sad. So sad. You're not even realizing what you're saying. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. All right. I am going to bring up my first article after an hour and 40 minutes. Here we go. Let's start with okay, 50 reasons why we are living in the end times. Okay, so here we have 50 reasons why we are living in the end times. Let me make it a little bigger if I can. Oh, also, let me just take this comment down so you guys can see it. First article time. Yeah. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll do an hour show. Maybe, I don't know if I'll even get an hour out. I'm just going to go live and see what happens. And here we are, an hour and 40 minutes in. I had just now getting to my first article. This is the new John Talks without John. I would love John hasn't gone live. I still love his videos. God, he's got it down though. His channel is just killing it. And I love watching. I binge watch all his videos. They're so great. The way he edits and just the comedy and the timing, he's got it down, man. I mean, John Talks is, he's the guy who got me really inspired to do, when he was still John Talks Star Wars, really inspired me to get into YouTube. And yeah, I mean, we've become friends. We stream together. I have enormous amount of respect for John Talks. Love his channel. He's a great guy. And I love what he's doing. Like he doesn't go live anymore. He doesn't talk about the entertainment stuff, but neither do I. I mean, I do on Tuesdays on our show, but it's mostly, I'm mostly talking about this stuff now. We kind of both took our channels in different directions, but it's really kind of connected though, because he does political stuff. And I mean, that's all ties into stuff that I do too. But yeah, I know. I do. Yeah, I miss the chats. Yeah, his streams were the best. Cowbell. I mean, come on. I haven't had that cowbell for a long time. You know, we got a lot of cowbell, pent up cowbell. I do miss John Talks though. I wish he would go. I wish he'd go live every now and then. Does he still go? Do they do Infinity Talks? I haven't seen him do it for a while, unless it's on Nina's channel. I haven't seen him do it for a while though. I hope they do it. I haven't seen it though. If they do it, I haven't caught it. But he's pumping out videos, man. He's killing it with his videos, his channel. He's just killing it. So yeah, I mean, congratulations to John Talks. Need more cowbell. Yeah, the more you know. I know. Oh gosh. And then his the telethon guy. This channel is brought by viewers like you. I miss it. I do miss it. Okay, so let's see here. The Bible says we cannot know the time of the Lord's return, as per Matthew 25:13, but the scripture makes it equally clear that we can know the season of the Lord's return. Take these off. I don't even have my earphones in this whole time. I don't have anyone on. I don't need to have them in. Okay. Oh, man. You yourselves know full well that the day of the Lord will come just like a thief in the night, but you, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you like a thief, for you are all sons of the light and sons of day. We are not of nights. We were talking about this earlier in the chat, right? You guys are saying that we're not supposed to be caught unaware, you know? So let us not sleep as others do, but let us be alert and sober. Be awake, be aware, he's saying. You know, know the times you're living in. The passage asserts that Jesus is coming like a thief in the night, but then it proceeds to make it clear that this will only be true for the, I'll say non-believers, pagan world, not for believers. So it's only true for non-believers. His return should be no surprise to those who know him, his word, and have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit to give them understanding of the nature of the times. Furthermore, the scripture gives us signs to watch for, signs that will signal that Jesus is ready to return. The writer of the Hebrew letter referred to these signs when he proclaimed that believers should encourage one another when they see the day of judgment drawing near. Jesus also referred to the end time sign, his Olivet discourse given during the last week of his life. Speaking of a whole series of signs in which he had given his disciples, he said, when you see these things, recognize that he, the Son of Man, that is Jesus, is near, right at the door. Since the time of Balfour Declaration, we have witnessed sign after sign pointing to the Lord's return. The Balfour Declaration was Israel returning to the land. That was the last thing that needed to happen. The last thing on the prophetic time clock of the end times was Israel had to return to the land, because the tribulation period is ultimately all about Israel. It's waking Israel up. The church is done at that point. The focus is then getting Israel back. So another reason why dispensation, why the pre-tribulation rapture, why the church has to be kind of taken out of the picture, because they're not the focus, it's Israel. I mean, that's debated too, but I mean, I find that pretty clear from when you read Revelation. There's a part where the church is no longer mentioned, and it's all about Israel, because the church isn't there anymore. It's not the focus. They're not on earth. I have personally been searching the Bible for years in an effort to identify all the signs, and it has not been an easy task to get a hold on. It's because there's so many of them, both in Old and New Testament. I found the best way to deal with them is to put them in categories, and by doing so, I've come up with 6 categories of the end times: signs of nature, signs of society, spiritual signs, signs of world politics, signs of technology, and signs of Israel. Each category contains many prophecies concerning the end times, all of which are being fulfilled right before our very eyes. Here, specifically, are listed 50 of those prophecies. Okay, so here's 50 of them. Make this bigger. Okay, so increasing instability of nature. Well, I mean, we've had more fires than ever recorded. We've had more earthquakes. We've had more hurricanes. I mean, everything's picking up. There's tornadoes. I mean, we're always. Everything seems to be kind of. I'm going to turn my camera off just because it's freezing up here while I share. Everything seems to be increasing. So I would say, instability of nature is a pretty big one. Just given how many different things you see happening right now, on huge scales. It's not like hurricanes. There's always a big one, but this is like unprecedented. These are unprecedented. The amount that we see. And the increase of it's like, all these earthquakes, there's so many 6.0s and larger. Yellowstone has so much rumbling going on. I mean, forget they're Goodbye America. Increasing lawlessness and violence. Well, you don't have to look too far to see how that's relevant. I mean, with everything last summer, it's just, oh man, go to the news. It's all lawlessness, violence, defund the police, lawlessness, violence. It's pretty easy to see how that one relates. Increasing immorality. I mean, like we just said, there's teachers that are saying that kids should be seeing to something they have no business seeing. At that age, no business. Like, are you kidding? As demonic as you can be. Corruption, immorality. And there's just one example right there, but there's so many. Yeah, lawlessness. Check. Yeah. Tsunami took out 200,000. Check. Natural disasters. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's these are okay so far. The first three, yeah, pretty on point, right? Increasing materialism. Look at our culture consumed with materialism, consumed with it. Everyone's got to have the newest and best, greatest. Look at the iPhone. When iPhones are released, lines are across the freaking block. No, yeah, Mr. Batsu, good point. San Francisco, no arrest policy for shoplifters under. You can shoplift up to almost up to $1,000. You can shoplift almost $1,000, and the police won't even show up. Lawlessness is lawlessness and immorality. That's a great example right there. When would that have ever flown? You kidding me? 10 years ago? You're gonna say 10 years ago that out of nowhere, they just San Francisco says, we're not gonna arrest anyone for shoplifting under $1,000. People will be like, what? That's insane. But now it's like it hardly, people hardly bat an eye. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Increasing materialism. So there you go. Materialism, shoplifting, shoplifting for materials. The need to have the next greatest, and I mean, look, I'm a victim of this. Well, yeah, I'm a victim of this too. I want to get, although I don't really, I keep up to date to a degree with my tech. I keep it till it doesn't work anymore. But things are kind of made not to work that much or for that long. Feels like the iPhone, you got like maybe 3 years of it working, and then it's kind of meant to give in. So you kind of have to get the, and by that time, technology's the rate it accelerates. It's changed so much. So, we're all kind of victim. Well, I mean, we grew up in America, especially if you grew up in America in the 80s. Oh my gosh. Materialism was, you kind of got brainwashed by it. So yeah, I would say check on the materialism. Increasing hedonism. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I mean, they want to push it on younger and younger, generations now. Younger. Yep. Definitely. What the satanic commandment is, do as thou wilt. That's the whole of the law. Do as thou will. Do whatever you will. Do what you want. It's all about you. It's all about making you feel good. You are number one. You are important. It's a lie of lies. It's what got Adam and Eve in trouble. Did God really say that? Doubt. Well, doubt was the first sin. or the first thing to enter mankind, the first point of corruption was doubt. God really say that? You could eat of this fruit and you would be as smart as God. You could be your own God. That's the lie. That's Satan's lie right there. And that gets into hedonism, making you feel good. It's not about that. We're supposed to be better. I mean, we're supposed to be better than that. It's supposed to be a higher calling. Of course, we fall short of all these things. We're not perfect, which is the exact point of needing a savior, because we're not perfect. No one can live up to these standards. Well, I mean, I'm talking about the law. That's why Jesus had to. That's why God himself had to do it. There's no human could ever be qualified. We have the sin gene in our DNA. It's literally in our DNA. It's programmed in our DNA. It got programmed in there. So, yeah, hedonism. Increasing influence of humanism. Humanity being number one, humanity being important. Humans are all there is. Forget God, forget spirituality. Increasing influence of humanism. We're all going to live as one. We could all be as one. We could all, just all get along. Every religion can be combined. It's all the same. God is whatever you want. It's all this idea of humanism being above, having God, having a savior, being accountable, falling short, living in, a depraved world, a depraved state, a depraved body. Humanistic experience, but depraved entertainment. Well, He-Man, look at that. He-Man's depraved entertainment. But yeah, I mean, depraved entertainment, yeah, check. It's pretty easy to see all the glorified violence, and I mean, we can see that's it's all over it's all over the TV. But I mean, it's like worse than that. Like, just I think more of the the wokeness that we get in our entertainment right now. That's like, look at everything on Netflix. So much of it on Netflix, and it's not just Netflix. It's it's all of them to a degree, but they're all pushing these agendas. These the woke agenda, and most of it pushes anti-God principles, anti-Christian principles, anti-Judeo-Christian principles, which is what this country was founded on. I mean, ultimately, the idea that every man has inalienable rights handed down by God, the creator. Of course, the country's not perfect, and we've not lived up to that in the past, but we've also tried to fix as well. But that idea is from the Judeo-Christian, it's Judeo-Christian foundations. And yeah, the forefathers, we could get into, well, what societies they were a part of, what secret societies they were a part of. But beyond all that, secret agenda, beyond all that, it was still within their grasp to lay the foundation of this country upon those rights, having God-given rights. Every man is equal, created equal in the image of God. That stuff is a Judeo-Christian foundation. And we have been ever trying to get away from that, to tear that idea down. So I would say depraved entertainment, calling evil good and good evil. Again, oh man. I mean, look at everything, it's name calling being glorified, the far, I mean, it's both sides, the far left and the right. The right's not, they're not all clean as a whistle either. But definitely the far left agenda, you can see, calling evil good, good evil, everything that's anti-Christian, anti-God, it's celebrated. That's good. That's woke. It's basically woke culture. Woke culture is calling evil good and good evil. This crazy woke culture. It's not just standing up for rights, for minority rights. I mean, that's like that's important, but that's not what they're doing. They use that as a way to get in, infiltrate, and destroy. That's the problem. They use they use things that should be good, that should be backed, that groups that do need support and increased awareness and fairness in whatever it is, jobs, opportunities, education. That stuff is all true. Like the things that they use, the far left use, are all good and worthwhile causes. But they take that stuff and they use it and infiltrate it and destroy it and rotten it from within. They don't really care about these groups. They care about pushing their agenda. They use them because we've seen this. As soon as someone, in that group says something that goes against their agenda, even though they're supposed to be helping them and care about them, they freaking go after them. They turn on them. I mean, look, you care about helping the minority communities. Chicago is just a mess. They have the highest gun control in the country, the strictest gun laws in the country, Chicago, and it's got the most gun violence. It's not legal guns that are the problem. And they're not caring about helping. They're not really caring about helping these communities, because if you did, you'd clean up Chicago. You'd clean that up first. But, that's where we're at, though. Look at. It doesn't take long. It doesn't. I mean, it's the most. And Chicago's like, it's one of the biggest, most important cities in America. It's in the spotlight, and yet people don't see this. Come on. It's not about the ideals that they're trying to get behind. It's about the agenda of trying to infiltrate and destroy, trying to corrupt, calling evil good and good evil. That's what it's about. Oh man, thanks, Drew. I appreciate that. Well, it's actually my wife. God talked to her and told her to tell me, because I wasn't even going to do a show, and she talked me into it. She said, "Why don't you do this?" I said, "All right, you know what? That's a good idea. I will do this." I didn't think I was going to talk. I didn't think I was going to talk this. I thought, well, man, if I go an hour, I'll be lucky. But yeah, I guess you start getting into this, and I don't know. I guess I guess it is God. The Holy Spirit just starts flowing. You just start coming up with things to say, and yeah, I appreciate that, Drew. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I'll let her know. The world does need Jesus right now. You're right. You're right. Yeah, they were trying to defund the police. Yeah, it's insane. I mean, again, calling evil good and good evil, and immorality. Like, defund the police? You have the freaking highest gun violence in the country, and you want to defund? And it's not from legal weapons. It's not from legal weapons. And you have the strictest laws, and you want to defund the police. Good idea. You want to talk about an agenda? See, they use that. Oh, defund the police because they're evil against, minorities, but yet it's the minorities that are in the most trouble and need the most help. And you want to defund the police so they don't get any help? What about the people living in those communities that don't want to be in the violence? They're stuck, feeling they have no way out. They need to be protected. You're gonna take the police out so that they can't do their job? I mean, it's already a war zone in there, but I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, thanks, guys. Pastor unfamiliar. According to Christy, is always telling people they need Jesus. Yeah. She's right. She's right. What I mean, think of the world. If people actually, believed, if you had a world of believed that, that there was a God and that Jesus is the Messiah, and you should try to be the best you can. You should try to live up to how he wants you to live. Always try to improve. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. There's in no way, am I close to even perfect. I know I can be better. I always try to be better. I know I can be better. But God works slowly on people in different ways, but the thing is, you do start to change. When you kind of believe and give yourself to Jesus and know, like, yeah, I should be better. The Holy Spirit, it has a way of working on you, and you do start to change. You just start to change the way you think, the way you act. It starts to change. And it's always different for different people, but I mean, inevitably it does. So think if the world actually, had that belief, held those beliefs and those values, the world would change. It would be a different place. We would be living in a world, more aligned with what God had created us to live in. I mean, Eden was created for us. The sin, the original sin. Well, I wouldn't say the original sin. the original human sin, I'll say. That was what took us out of Eden and put us in the world we live in, which is apart from God. But, the millennial reign brings us back to that, closer to that. Yeah, but, so if the world only all believed, we'd be in a different place for sure. Increasing use of drugs. I mean, obviously the drug problem in the country, and they look at opium and meth is huge numbers. The border, the porous border that, illegal drugs come pouring into. It's not that hard to see how that plays into it. Oh, Drew, I'm seeing people say, wish you the best tomorrow. I see you. Oh, you have a pounding headache. Oh man. Oh, sorry to hear that. Dental pain. God. I'm sorry, Drew. Yeah, it's never fun. Man. See, this is what I'm talking about. Our bodies break down. We get sick. We get, disease. There's corruption. We're in a fallen world. We have problems. This is not how we were created. This is not what we were created for, but it's what we're stuck in right now because we're in a fallen world. It's, it's not that hard to see. Increasing blasphemy. Yeah, I mean, look at the way that Jesus' name is used. I mean, especially in entertainment, it's used. There's not respect in entertainment. It's not respect given to Jesus. That's pretty easy to see. Increasing paganism, witchcraft. All this stuff is on the rise. I think this has always kind of been there, but maybe it's more out in the open now. I think it's just more out in the open now. It's more out in the open now. Increasing despair. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This one's probably the most. That's probably the most obvious one after the last year. Like, well, even right now, despair. I mean, look at this despair. We just went through a worldwide shutdown. It lasted like a year. It's not even fully over yet. It's not even fully over. I don't know if it ever will be. And people are in despair. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to turn to. There's no leadership. This seems like the leadership's corrupt. No one knows who to trust. The media isn't trustworthy. Increasing despair. Suicides were at an all-time high last year because people were stuck inside, didn't know what to do, what was going on. Especially if you don't have faith. I mean, it's hard if you have faith. It's hard if you have faith. If you are a believer, it's hard. This is difficult. But at least there's someone's in control. There's a plan. At least you have the faith that gets you through. At least this isn't it. This isn't all there is. There is a plan. Ultimately Jesus won. he won. But yeah, if you don't have that, oh my gosh, despair. I don't know what I don't know how you'd get on. No wonder this is taking so many people. It's like we said, the blue pill, red pill. It's waking people up. It's either getting you on board, like waking you up to question things, or it is pushing you further and further away. It's splitting. It's splitting though. It's splitting society. So, signs in the heavens. My gosh. Well, I mean, where do you start with this one? It's UFOs, phenomenon, all this crazy stuff caught in the sky, asteroids that are on their way to Earth. We've got, what's the big one that's coming in 2020? Was it 2029? Is that 2029? There was another one that was heading our way too. That was, or no, I think it passed by us, but it came really, really close. But there's all kind of astronomical signs in the heavens. I mean, there's one in Revelation specifically that talks about the end times, where it talks about the woman clothed in the sun with the moon at her feet, and the dragon, the serpent, swallowing up the child as the woman was about to give birth. I mean, that's all in signs in the heavens. People have made very well done videos that show how that's, how those refer to constellations, and there's signs that point to things that are happening. So signs of the heavens, I mean, that's a big one, especially with the UFO stuff. I'd say for sure, portal things that people are catching on video, weird spirals, and I mean, that's a pretty easy one. But also the comet. Wasn't an asteroid going to hit at 2020 election? There was an asteroid. There was a comet or something that passed by us. Yeah, it wasn't going to hit. They just said it was going to pass by us, and it did pass by. But yeah, thankfully it didn't hit. But they have the big one. What made the video on it with Wormwood? A lot of people are comparing it to a wormwood. Gosh, what's the name? Not Apollo. Apophis, asteroid Apophis, that they originally said it was going to hit us, and then it said, well, I think it's going to make a near pass. It's not going to hit us. It's going to come, like within our satellites, like with the range of our satellites, it's going to come within that range. And that's supposed to be, it's supposed to fly by us on April Fool's Day, April Fool's Day in 20, or no, I think it was April Fool's Day. No. It's Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, April 2029. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's been a little while since I made that video, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. It's Friday the 13th, 2029. I think it's April 13th, which is a Friday. It's supposed to fly. They're supposed to just miss us, but they're also saying anything could change its trajectory. At first, it was headed our way, and then something changed its trajectory, and it could happen again, though. But there are a lot of people that of comparing this to Wormwood and how this could line up with certain dates that were prophesied by the Essenes, the group I was talking about earlier. They wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls. They also have a 2025 to 2029 as being like the end of the age and the beginning of the next age. So we'll see. Yeah. So signs of heaven, increasing knowledge. Well, we talked about that too. The internet, you can literally find any information you want at any time as quick as you need it. Never could have happened before. Increasing knowledge. Not just that people are getting smarter, because I don't think that's the case, but it's easier to find. I don't think we're necessarily smarter, but we have the access to information to find out what we need when we need it. Of course, having this access to information also makes us dumb because we don't need to remember anything. So, think of how often you're like, how do I do this? Do you really learn how to do it? Or you just watch a video and do it? And, would you remember that? I don't know. Without practice, repetitions, maybe not. Probably depends on the person and what you're learning, but definitely increase of knowledge, because I can find out more now than I could or humans can find out more now than they could 50 years ago, much quicker. It's just easier to do. Increased travel. Well, yeah, again, that's pretty, we can go all over the planet now. That was not the case 100 years ago. Not as quick, not as easily and quickly as you can now. Increasing travel. We can, it's just so much easier to travel the planet and do it very quickly. The explosion of cults. Well, oh man, that's all over. And I mean, it's Christian cults too. There are a lot of cults out there. More than you probably think. I was hoping Tim Pool said he was going to be starting kind of like a paranormal mystery cult show. I don't think it's happened yet. Like a podcast. He was looking for someone to do research, and I actually applied and heard back from him, and then sent them something, and then I didn't hear back from him anymore. So, but I don't know if they actually ever started. I haven't seen anything on it. So, but I thought that'd be cool. He was going to do a segments on like different cults. So I kind of looked into it a little bit because I'd applied to be the researcher, and I was surprised how many cults there were. You kind of know the big ones that made the media, but yeah, there's a lot. The proliferation of false Christ, that kind of goes with the cults. There are also a large amount of people that are saying that they're Jesus, the second coming of Christ. And they're the ones leading these cults, which is of course not true, but it is prophesied that there will be many, many people will come in my name, calling themselves the Christ, but don't believe it. You'll hear people saying, "Oh, the Christ is there. He's out in the wilderness. He's here. He's there." Don't go. Don't look for him. It's not. You'll know when he's coming back. There'll be no. The world will know. There will be no mistaking it. You don't have to worry about it. He will come the way that he left, in the clouds. He left in the clouds. He was ascended in the clouds. Got lifted up and left in the clouds. That's how he's going to come back. And it's not going to be like I don't know. Is that him? Could that be him? Everyone will know it's him. It says every eye will see him. They will know it is him that they pierced. Israel will know that it was him. They will weep and mourn because they'll know it was him. It was him they pierced. They'll get it. They'll know, oh my gosh, it was Jesus. He was the Messiah. So you'll know it's him when he comes. It won't be like a question. So don't go looking for false Christs. Increasing apostasy in the church. Well, I mean, we see this in today's age too, Like I was saying, a lot of people aren't even talking about this stuff, end times, and it's not as widespread. It's becoming a little more widespread, especially on the internet, because the main churches aren't doing it. So there's pastors that are going online and starting ministries online, trying to get people this information. It's kind of like what I'm doing. I mean, I do it with my channel too now, but especially the show tonight. And it's kind of what I'm doing. I'm by no means a pastor, so don't get that confused. But I've studied long enough and know enough to feel confident sharing this stuff. Trying to help wake people up and show people that, yeah, look, this was going on, but don't be in despair. Like it says here, don't be in despair, because here's what's going on. Here's the plan. This is prophesied to happen. Ultimately, it's good. Increasing attacks on Jesus. Well, again, like we talked about this earlier too. It's specifically Christians and Jesus that's ridiculed. Other faiths and religions. It's okay. Everyone's good. They're all good. It's all fine. It's just those pesky Christians. Why? Why is it just Christian? Why is it just Jesus? And for the most part, of course, there's different groups that all get persecuted, but worldwide, it's Christians, and it's not really in America. We don't really see it here as much, But yeah, it happens worldwide. The Christian persecution, is much wider than they would have you believe here in America. Greg, I like Greg Laurie a lot. Yeah. We My wife and I watch him. Harvest at Home, harvest.org. Yep, Greg Laurie. I have 2 of his books too. He wrote one on Billy Graham. But yeah, I like Greg Laurie. He's a very engaging guy to listen to. Good pastor. Talks about this guy, Greg Laurie, talks about the end times. He goes through Revelation. He talks about what's happening now. Talks about the prophecies. He teaches prophecy. You need to these days. I mean, to really be an effective pastor, I think you need to. And he does it. It's one of the things I love. Like, if it's a pastor that's not talking about this stuff, I'm not listening, because I'm like, well, come on, man. You're supposed to be aware of this, especially you, if you're, the leader of a flock, the shepherd of a flock. Yeah. Oh, yes. I want to see that Steve McQueen, that film. Yeah. Yeah, because Steve McQueen became a Christian. Steve McQueen. See, that's a man's man right there. Too bad he died young too. Let's see here. Increasing attacks on the Bible, I mean, same thing. Increasing persecution on Christians, same thing. Increasing cultism, same thing. Wars and rumors of wars. There are more wars in the world now, like even little wars with between little nations, than at any other time in history. There's more. There are more as a whole. There are more wars, and it's not talking about like big world wars. Just even little between nations, between a ruling military group to another ruling military group. There are more wars than any other time in history right now. There's like hundreds of them. It's crazy. Because you think, well, war, it's going to be like, oh, it's China, Russia, U.S. or Britain or something, Europe, Germany, but it's not. It's any little nation that's warring against another nation is considered wars, or rumors of wars. We're always hearing about saber rattling here and there. The world's always like on the brink of something. It just kind of cools off, for the most part, from escalating into like a world war, at least an open world war. You could say we're in a type of world war right now, of like an information technological world war, but not the kind that we're thinking. Weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. There's many references in the Bible of cities just being decimated, like instantly. Damascus ceasing to being a city, becoming a ruinous heap overnight. That's, you can't have that before. That wouldn't have worked before. Increasing famine. Man. Again, going back to last year. Going to the drought in California right now. There's a drought in California that's, we never get rain here. And the water levels are an all-time low. They're very worried about how this is irrigation for crops. California produces, 80% of the world's food. It's a huge amount. I don't know if I think it is like 70 to 80%. It's a huge amount of the world's food. And if we can't produce food here, well, that's a big problem. Increasing pestilence, insects. There's locusts. There's like locust attacks, things that are like biblical type of pestilence, and it's actually happening. Yeah, but increasing pestilence. You can say pestilence also if you want to go like the interpretation of sicknesses and violences, but it's more plagues. But you could say viruses. But it's more specifically talking about like plagues. Yeah, cicadas. Yeah, the cicadas. That's right. Yeah, the locusts. Yeah, locust plagues. A lot of those recently. The cicadas. They come up. That's the. Although they are pesky. Yeah, they are. It is sort of a plague. Yeah. Yeah. Right. This is the crazy thing. Isn't it ironic too? Qui-Gon. The woke crowd are rooting for the ones that would be the first to do away with them. You don't get more woke than that. I'm so woke. I root for the ones who hate me. That's how woke I am. Cucatas. You know they put cucatas in our food. Are they tasty? They put a lot of stuff in our food. I think that we'd. Well, Bill Gates now owns what 80% of the farmland in America. Or I don't know if it's he's the largest. He's the single largest owner of farmland in America now. Bill Gates. Why? Because he always wanted to be Old MacDonald. Took that a little too literally. It's his favorite nursery rhyme growing up. Old MacDonald had a farm. I'm going to have all the farms. That's what he said. Someday, Old MacDonald, I'll show you. I feel like Star Trek was oddly predictive programming with how they mentioned the eugenics wars. Well, see, yeah, Drew. I mean, I tell you that the entertainment they like to predict the programming. They like to show you. In one specific cult, they actually have to. They have to show you what they're going to do. It's part of their like doctrine. They have to show you what they're going to do ahead of time because they don't think you're, either you're not smart enough to figure out, or even if you did, no one's going to believe you. So they have to show it to you. It's part of their doctrine. So you never know. I mean, you see things like that's like The Simpsons, Family Guy, a lot of weird predictions. I did a video on a couple of the weird Simpson predictions. Things happened. And yeah. Insect meat. Well, they say it has a lot of protein. It tastes like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken. What does chicken taste like? It just takes on whatever flavor you season it with. Computer technology, again, I was saying like you couldn't have had this stuff. A lot of these prophecies could not be fulfilled before the technological age because they didn't have the technology. Forget a mark of the beast could never have happened before computers because you couldn't get all the world. You can't just shut off someone's ability to buy and sell unless it all goes digital. Unless the world becomes digital currency, then it's very easy to shut off anyone's ability. Oh, they don't like what you're saying? Shut off. Oh, they don't like your belief? Oh, shut off. Changes things. See, you start thinking about this stuff and you're like, wait, maybe I don't want to be living in the end times. It was not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. It's actually horrifying. The Bible says it's the most worst time period that ever will be, ever has been, or ever will be. So although, yes, it's, exciting seeing prophecies fulfilled, it's also, man, I would like to, I'm praying for the rapture. My hope is in the rapture. If not, then, well, at least I know what's coming. But, I'd really prayerfully hope not to be here. But whatever will be, will be. Impact of television. Tell-a-vision. Kind of like the alien, a lie. Television. They're telling you a vision. Whose vision is it? Whoa. What do they call channels? What do they call the shows that are on? They call it programming. What do they call the things you flip through? They call it channels, channeling. I mean, I don't know. Is this all just coincidence? Is it all a coinky-dink? That they call it television, programming, channeling? I don't know. Yeah, this is a list of 50 reasons why we're living in the end times. Yeah. Satellite technology, again, connecting the whole planet instantly. There's references that the mark of the beast, the Antichrist somehow will have some statue, some likeness of him. It's not him, but it's a likeness of him, and everyone in the world will be able to see it. It's going to interact. Yeah, it's kind of hard to, it's what could that be? Well, people thought, well, maybe it's a statue or something that speaks supernaturally, but now it's like, well, It could be a hologram, digital hologram that's blasted out to everyone's television at one time. Satellite technology made that possible. Couldn't have done it before. Yeah, the internet, the web. Internet. Yeah, enter the net. Be caught. Internet being caught in the net, the web, a web. Yeah, the net, the web. You're caught in it. Yeah, 50 reasons to leave your lover. Virtual reality. Again, maybe this whole thing is virtual reality. We don't even know. How do you know what's real and what's not? Could be a digital, it could be in a digital universe. Unification of Europe. I mean, that's a lot of people believe that. Building like the new Roman Empire. I'm not really sure about that one, but I think it'll be more like an Antichrist empire. But yeah, there are a lot of prophecy. People believe that European Union, like the revised Roman Empire, is part of it. Far Eastern military powers, Russia, that's happening. Moving towards world government. Well, again, that's super easy to see right now. Regathering of the Jews. Again, that had to be the last thing to happen prophetically till the end times could start. The last thing on the time clock. That had to happen. Reestablishment of Israel had to happen. Reclamation of the land of Israel had to happen. Revival of biblical Hebrew had to happen. They have to instate their laws again. The sacrifices have to start. They have to have some sort of temple that has to be erected. It doesn't have to be a huge temple. It just has to be something where they can start their sacrifices again. Because it says in the end times, the Antichrist will end to the sacrifices. Well, they have to be doing them first. And they actually have plans now. They have started already practicing to restart the sacrifices, the animal sacrifices. They've already started the training, I guess, of the young rabbis to start doing this. They found a red heifer. Hasn't been found for 2,000 years. They just found one in America, no less. So, yeah, it's like already kind of building. They're already getting to this point. Reoccupation of Jerusalem, resurgence, refocusing of the world politics on Israel. That's always happening. Russia threat to Israel. That's big time right now. Arab threat to Israel. Denial of the second coming. How many people say, well, Jesus he's not coming back. He already came. This already happened. Revelation already took place. It happened long ago. Oh, really? I'm sorry. I missed the whole, Antichrist, mark of the beast. No one could buy or sell or trade. I missed that part. I don't remember that in history. It hasn't happened yet. Millennial reign. Jesus coming back and ruling for 1,000 years. That hasn't happened yet. And it describes it as a literal thing, not a figurative thing. It's not the Spirit of Jesus. It's the Holy Spirit. No. It's Jesus setting his feet on the Mount of Olives, an earthquake splitting it in two. It's literal. It's literal interpretation. It's not an allegory. It's not a it's not a vision or something else. It's literal. Denial of creation by God. Well, yeah, I mean, ever since our modern science age, it's God didn't create. Well, first it was the big thing was evolution, right? Now they're starting to, I don't know about evolution. Too many holes in the theory. Well, it's probably aliens. Aliens created us. Now it's that, right? Now it's aliens are our progenitors, and they left, and they're coming back, sometime to help usher us into the next phase of man, and we're going to be more technologically advanced. We're going to have all this stuff. It's this whole idea, but again, like what I was saying before, that also leaves the door wide open for if a rapture happens. Oh, the aliens who created us, they took the ones who weren't ready away. They took them off planet. People are already saying that they're, that the contactees, that people who are in contact with these spiritual entities, I think they're the extraterrestrial entities, are telling them that they're coming back, and there's going to be a time where people are taken off planet. They're going to go away for a while. Well, I mean, Christians call that the rapture, but denial of creation. It was them that made us, not God. But it's already funny how it's already started to leave. Like evolution is already not really even as pushed and strong as it was. You're hearing a lot more people talk about the alien, the alien creators. So I find that very interesting. But that's another one. Outpouring of the Holy Spirit. That's a big one if you think about all the people that are actually talking about this, and perhaps that is why people are waking up. They're like we talked about earlier, the red pill, blue pill, being red pilled. That is the Holy Spirit awakening people. So that's happening too, again, because of last year. So you take something that's terrible and a world changing event, but God's got a good use for it. He can make good out of terrible things. He can use bad people to cause good things too. Translation of the Bible into many languages. It's translated, pretty much every language, I don't know if there's many that it's not translated into at this point. So preaching of the gospel worldwide, it's pretty much been preached to every corner like it was said to be. Preach it to the four corners, of the world, and it's been established. Check on that. Someone made a good point. They're like, see, people say, well, what about the people in the world who don't know who Jesus is? Well, first of all, unless you're part of a small tribe in the middle of nowhere who hasn't been in touch with, humankind, okay, maybe you got to pass on that one, but God knows that. Okay. But for most of the world, what you ask anyone in the world, what's the year? Well, it's 2021. Oh, it's 2021. Yeah. Well, it's 2021 years since what? What happened 2021 years ago? Obviously, people know the world is older than 2021 years. So, people are kind of without excuse. If you've never thought about that before, it's like, it's 2021. Yeah. Years since what? What happened 2021 years ago? Why did we start counting then? The world's obviously older. So what happened then? So, you are without excuse. So obviously, that's when Jesus was born. So yeah, exactly. So people kind of are without excuse, anyone living in this world, knowing it's the year 2021, at some point would have to ask, if you've never heard before, you'd have to ask something. Hey, what happened 2021 years ago? Why is it 2021? So the revival of Messianic Judaism, a huge movement right now. It's a very big movement, Messianic Jews. It's being Jewish by, faith, religion, and nationality, but becoming Christian, accepting Messiah, accepting Yeshua, who's Jesus, Yeshua as Messiah. That's a Messianic Jew. I'm Jewish by nature. I've grown up Jewish, but I have accepted, Jesus as the Messiah. The revival of Davidic praise worship. This goes again about the temple worship and the customs that they held. They're getting back into that. Like I said, they're gonna, once they get this temple up, they are gonna start doing the sacrifices again. The laws of Moses will be in place again. Yeah. So the understanding of Bible prophecy. Well, this could not have ever happened before the modern age, because certain things were without understanding until recently, because the world was not in a position it is now where things are more clear. It's it's being unveiled, being revealed. There's more people that understand Bible prophecy now than ever before. Well, maybe since at least Jesus' time. But even then, he'd talk about this stuff and they'd have no idea really what he was talking about because they couldn't understand it. But now, because of all the technology and everything, it's we're connected. We understand this stuff. We see it happening. So that's it. The list could be greatly expanded, but the 50 examples above should be sufficient to show you that we are in the season of the Lord's return. The Bible clearly teaches that God never pours out his wrath without warning, for he is a just and loving God who does not wish that any should perish. 2 Peter 3:9. That's why he has provided so many signs to alert us to the fact that we are living on the threshold of the tribulation. Message, the bottom line, message of the signs is that we are living on borrowed time. And a crucial question for every human being is, are you ready? Are you ready for the return of Jesus? While most people no longer believe that Jesus is coming back, researchers in the Middle East have discovered new evidence that proves the prophesied rapture is not only real, but why it must soon come to pass. So there you go. Before the Wrath. Here's a link here. Before the Wrath, available from Prophecy News. Want to check it out? Lamb and Lion Mysteries. I actually know that website. It's a good website. I'm gonna put this link in the chat if you guys want to go over this yourself. Check it out. You can check it out. Yeah, Lamb and Lion Mysteries. I'm aware of them. I think if that's the same one. So here's another thing I found interesting here. Okay. We talked about possession earlier. Well, wouldn't you know it, but they're on the rise. Demonic possession is very real and on the rise. Catholic Church has been needing more exorcists recently. And it's because possessions are on the rise. Although many scientists say demonic possession is a myth. Okay. One psychiatrist says it's very real and may be on the rise. Dr. Richard Gallagher is the leading psychiatrist and profession. So here we talked about scientists starting to realize maybe spiritual things are not as crazy. Professor of clinical psychiatry at New York Medical College. Unlike most of his colleagues with this scientific arena, he believes there is a spiritual world with a very dark side that goes beyond just our physical world. So there are scientists and doctors who are starting to come around to the idea that maybe they're not just all crazy. Maybe it's not just chemical imbalance in the mind. Maybe it's a balance in the soul. Gallagher's work with the demonic world began decades ago when he had one client who was the self-proclaimed witch. She called herself a witch and dressed the part with flowing dark clothes and black eyeshadow around her temples. Gallagher described in the Washington Post. As a man of science, he was skeptical about her claims. Let me make this bigger for you. He experienced the unexplainable. My subject's behavior exceeded what I could explain with my training. She could tell some people their secret weakness. Such was undue pride. She knew how individuals she'd never known had died, including my mother, her fatal case of ovarian cancer. But that was not the only thing that convinced Gallagher this was more than just a hoax. 6 people later vouched to me during her exorcism. They heard her speaking multiple languages, including Latin, completely unfamiliar to her outside of her trances. This was not psychosis. It was what I could only describe as paranormal ability. I concluded she was possessed. From one on, Gallagher began working with priests to help distinguish which clients were possessed from those who suffered from serious mental illness. For the past 2.5 decades and over several hundred consultations, I've helped clergy from multiple denominations and faiths to filter episodes of mental illness, which represent the overwhelmingly majority of cases from literally the devil's work. Looking back on more than 20 years of experience in identifying demonic possession, Gallagher suggests demonic possession is more frequent than what many believe. The Vatican does not track global or countrywide exorcisms, but in my experience and according to the priests I meet, the demand is rising. The United States is home to about 50 stable exorcists, those who have been designated by bishops to combat demonic activity on a semi-regular basis, up from just 12 a decade ago. So there's 50. A decade ago, there were only 12. Now there's 50. Wow, that is pretty high increase there. Still, many in Gallagher's field do not believe doctors can reconcile their work with belief in the spiritual world, but Gallagher says he has a simple answer to that objection. I've been asked, have I a simple answer? Oh, I'm sorry. I've been asked, have a simple answer. I honestly weigh the evidence, he said. As I see it, the evidence for possession is like the evidence for George Washington's crossing of the Delaware. In both cases, written historical accounts with numerous sound witnesses testified to their accuracy. Gallagher also says it's more illogical to outright reject the existence of a spiritual world. As a psychoanalyst, a blanket rejection of the possibility of demonic attacks seems less logical and often wishful in nature than a careful appraisal of the facts. So there you go. That is coming from a psychiatrist. So even science and doctors, at least one here, is realizing this is, it's on the increase, it's on the rise, and it's real. Now, the Catholic Church has also come out and said, they're on the rise and they need more priests to be exorcists. But this is not coming, this is just outside of the church. It's a secular article here that's talking about too. So it is real. It's on the rise. And I mean, as you can see, they went from 12 to 50 doctors increased because they didn't have enough. That's what you call a growth industry. Yeah. Awesome one. Yes, peace and love to you as well. Thank you for joining us. If you're still, I don't know if you ditched out already, if you had to leave, but thank you for joining us tonight and being so active and contributing in the chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments, and God bless you. God bless you. Yeah, that's what you call a growth industry. That's funny. Who else? Oh, did JP, did you leave too? If you are leaving or have left, I'm too stoned for this. Oh man, yeah, this is. You kind of have to be kind of more sober-minded for this one. This is a little more deep than just the alien talk or like the ghosts and ghouls, paranormal stuff I did the last couple of weeks. This is a little more theological. Yeah. Well, people, you just have to be careful what entities you're channeling, and who you think you're talking to. Because as he says, psychiatrist saying like she knew about stuff she shouldn't have known. People, how they died, she didn't know. Speaking in tongues, Yeah. What does he say here? She could tell some people their secret weakness. She knew how individuals died, including my mother and her fatal case of ovarian cancer. This stuff, these demons, they have this knowledge. They can almost read your mind. They have knowledge that exists outside of our realm. So they know stuff. They can fool you and make you believe that they're so and so, or that they know so and so. I mean, they give you this ability. They can trick you this way. When it says Satan comes with all lying signs and wonders, I mean, it's not being like sensational. It's not sensationalizing that line. That's literally all signs and lying wonders that you think are miracles or magical or something else, but it's a lie. I'd say this would fall into that case. Thinking that's why I question sometimes. The people who think they've had the past life experience. We talked about this a little last week, because Through the Veil has this ability to see these entities, and I mean, in her opinion and from what she believes, they're the deceased humans. She doesn't think they're demonic. She did come across something demonic, but she thinks that, the other ones are not. And I mean, that's her belief, but I question that, because I know that these entities their objective is to trick and fool and lie to you and make you believe things that aren't true. Anything that gets you away from believing the biblical principles, accepting Jesus, knowing that he's real, and, you need a savior. So I don't know. I just question things like that. But it's everyone's obviously, it's free to believe. I'm not trying to convince. Well, I mean, I guess I am preaching what I believe, but if you don't want to believe it, I have no anger or resentment or hatred towards you. People, you can choose to believe what you want to believe, which is everly, it's that kind of thought is just decreasing in the world right now, because you're being forced into trying to believe something that, they believe or someone else believes that maybe you don't want to. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'd see this kind of stuff and I'm like, yeah, be very weary of what entities you're allowing to talk to you. Yeah, a grain of salt. Oh, you guys are talking. Well, I can't mention this stuff. I wish I could, but yes, RR Hetty. I know what you guys are talking about, and I have seen. I've seen a lot of. I've researched that quite a bit. Yeah. I wish I could talk about it, but I can't. Can't. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I mean, basically, we can kind of get this show wrapping up. I'm losing my voice. It's been 2 hours and 47 minutes. Here's another good website. If you guys want to check out more, if you want to look at more kind of sites that talk about this idea, the news and how it relates to biblical prophecy, world news, all this kind of stuff. There's a few good ones here. Let's see. Well, first of all, you can look up on YouTube. Look up L.A. Marzulli. Let's see. Yeah, Rumble you can. I know. Yeah, I do. I actually do have a. What's the other one I'm using right now? I haven't started Rumble yet, though. I probably should. But I do have a one that backs up everything on YouTube automatically. Odyssey. I do have an Odyssey. So yeah, you guys can look me up on Odyssey and join. It's I think it's the same. Enter the Unfamiliar or Final Death Star. I think it's Enter the Unfamiliar. Either look that or Final Death Star, but I think it's Enter the Unfamiliar. It's on Odyssey though, and I do have a channel there. I'm not as active on it, but all my videos are automatically put there. Every time I upload on YouTube, it sends it, except for the live shows. They don't update live shows, but they do update all my videos. So it's all on there. So if anything, if I ever were, if they went after me on here, which you never know, they've gone after quite a few people. If they do, I do have everything backed up on Odyssey. So you can find me there. And obviously, if I couldn't be here, I would, probably be more active on there. And I will probably start a Rumble too, just to have other ways of, making videos. But it is, but I do have Odyssey, so you guys can go on there. And it's ODYSEE.com. So you can follow me there in case, never know. But anyway, go to follow L.A. Marzulli. He's a great source of information for, Nephilim, of course. He's big on that. There you go, another monster, and everyone else. Let me type his name in the chat. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Yeah, so yeah, Eli. Yeah, so L.A. Marzulli is one to check out. Although, did that? Yeah, there it is, popped up. Sky. Oh, geez, you know what? Skywatch TV. YouTube took them down. So I will send the link for that. Gonna give a little shout outs. Spend the rest of the show giving shout outs to the channels I like, the Christian prophetic channels I like, and websites, because some of them are not on YouTube anymore. So that's Skywatch TV. Here, I'll show you. I'm gonna bring this up. These guys are great too. Tom Horn. I mean, they all work together. They work with L.A. Marzulli and Prophecy Watchers. Do that one. Let's see. Skywatch. Yeah, here you go. So this is Skywatch TV. See here, Founding Fathers and the Great Seal Exposed. I'm talking about the secret hidden agenda of America. There's a lot of stuff there. Okay, so it's right there. That's the site there. But this is good. The Skywatch team is great. Derek Gilbert. He's also on Twitter, and his wife Sharon Gilbert. They're both on Twitter. But they do the 5 and 10. It's updated Monday through Friday. They do all the current topics of the day. So that's a really cool site to go to and find information. Skywatch TV. There is, Gen 6 Productions. That's Steve Quayle and Timothy Albarino. They're both great as well. Yep. You guys can find them. Oh, thanks, Tommy. Jeez, you found it. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've heard this as well. Toolbat. I've heard September too. I've heard possibly mid-August, possibly September. I don't know. You never know. Never know. What else? Prophecy Watchers. That's Gary Stearman and Bob Ulrich. Their channel. You can check them out. Prophecy Watchers. Let's see. They also have a YouTube. I believe it's still up. Yeah, they're still on YouTube. Jeez, did they? They took Skywatch TV down. I couldn't believe it. L.A. Marzulli's still up though. They haven't taken him down. Let's see if Prophecy Watchers. Oh, RaptureReady.com. That's a good one. Rapture Ready's got a lot of information too. They do their Rapture Ready news. It's all the daily events, and then they do Nearing Midnight, which is a weekly commentary. This is a good one too. Like I was saying, harvest.org, good online church. It's the Greg Laurie. We were talking about him earlier. He's very good. Charles Lawson. Okay, I'm not familiar with him. Zion 431. All right, let's see. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Huh. They had me unsubscribed. That's crazy. They had me unsubscribed to Prophecy Watchers. Unbelievable. I followed these guys. Gary Stearman is one of the first guys that I followed for Prophecy, and they have me unsubscribed. They unsubscribed me to this channel. Unreal. YouTube is unreal. Crazy. Man. Let's see here. All right. Just trying to get the link for you. Yeah, 150. Oh, man, they're doing well. 150,000 subscribers. So this is Prophecy Watchers. That's Gary Stearman there, Bob Ulrich. This is one of the first guys that got me into Prophecy in 2008. It was New York. They got me in. He was one of the guys responsible for opening my eyes. So there's the channel there for Prophecy Watchers. I'm just giving shout outs to all the channels that inspired me, or the ones I've used in the past. Let's see. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you L.A. Marzulli. If you guys don't know, this is LA's my favorite personally. I just like his style, his humor. So this is LA's channel. So he's there, 139,000. Man, killing it. It's so great. Let's see. And he also does his politics prophecy, and the supernatural report. So he does those. He's got this out now too. This is a UFO Disclosure: The Coming Great Deception and the Luciferian Agenda, or Luciferian Endgame. He put this out for free. Okay, it's an hour-long documentary he did. He did it a few years ago and revamped it, and it is out. He's putting it out for free because he wants people just to be able to see it and be aware of it, pass it on. So go check this out. It's a great documentary and it's free. He put it up there. This guy's story, oh my gosh, his story. He came into contact with a hybrid entity, was abducted for a long part of his life. And man, his story is really fascinating. It's fascinating. So check out this documentary. Wow, yeah. It's great. I'm going to give you his channel here. So this takes you right to his videos. But yeah, that's the LA Marzulli. Yeah, so that's his channel. This documentary is fantastic to watch. Yeah, he added a lot of good stuff on here. Let's see. Where's all the other videos? It looks like he changed things around a little bit here. And so anyway, there's he's got just a wealth of information. Yeah, he's got all his policy, prophecy, and supernatural reports. You can watch all 348 of them right there. So he's got a ton of stuff up there. He also has a website too. You can search LA Marzulli. He's got a website. It's got great. He's a lot of documentaries. He does fantastic work. So check him out as well if you want to learn more about, especially the Nephilim stuff. He's got a series on the trail of the Nephilim, like literally that's the name of his series. So it's really, yeah, man, it's great. Let's see. Oh, Tim Henderson. I love Tim Henderson. This guy is, man, he is a passionate, vocal, fun. It's great channel too. Yeah, Tim Henderson. You check him out. He does updates all the time. 12 hours ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 4 days ago. Sometimes he'll do multiple ones a day. And sometimes they're quick, just like a little 4 or 5 minutes, some big headline that dropped. Sometimes they're longer. He does them on the go. He'll be like in his car, he'll do one, or he's actually a pastor too. So he does a lot of church. Every Sunday he puts his sermon up there. But this is a really cool channel. He's really fun to listen to, passionate, and always preaches the gospel at the end of each video. He always preaches the tenets of faith. He's a pre-tribulation guy. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, after 3 hours of listening to me rant on about the end times, I would appreciate it. I appreciate you smashing that subscribe button and giving the video a like. Yeah, that's a good. Got to promote myself, right? Rapture Ray I gave you. Okay, end time headlines. I think this is like the last one I'll do. Literally losing my voice. It's been 3 hours. Usually I have guests on, or I've got flipped out, or Drew's on, so I don't have to talk the whole time. But talking 3 hours straight, although I like it, it does wear on your vocal cords. Let's see. Did I put the end? Did it not go? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, endtimesheadlines.com. Okay, that's a cool one too. Did I give it to? Yeah. All right, that's a good one. This is a good one too. And this also gives you like a lot of current stories of the day or of the week, and relates them to how they're related to biblical prophecy. Here, I didn't share this. Let me share this one. Or maybe it's not showing. There we go. Okay. All right. So yeah. So this is end time headlines. It's another good site. It gives you all the. You scroll through here. All this stuff. Franklin Graham urges clergy to support the V. Says Jesus would have. See this? He's not his father. This is Billy Graham's son. This is the agenda. You can see the agenda of just infiltrating everything. Telling church leaders they should be supporting this, pushing for it. I don't know about that. I don't think so, Frankie. Not your father. Clock is ticking for the West Coast. Oh, great. Yeah. I'll read this one before I go to bed. I have nightmares. Tsunami may strike Hawaii after a huge earthquake. And Tulsa pastor, first to die. I mean, these aren't always positive. Woman shot in the back of the head on sidewalk of New York City. Lawlessness, immorality, lawlessness right there. Talk about the signs of the end times, lawlessness. Obviously not going to show that video. Oh, yeah, look at this. Never know. Never know. Even if you do everything right, do all the follow the rules, still Still. Football-sized asteroid could strike Earth this year. There we go. Another one, another sign in the heavens. It's like checking off, it's like you go through these articles, just check off. Yeah. All the stuff we talked about. John Hagee. What happened to him? Oh, man. He's taking it. Wow. Yeah, see? Tyson Foods chairman gives chilling warning about the food supply chain. Pestilence and starvation. Famine. Wasn't famine on that list? Oh, there you go. There's a warning about that. New TV show has 15 men compete. Oh, there we go. Immorality. New TV show has 15 men compete to impregnate a 41-year-old woman. All right. There we go. Hedonism, immorality. You could win the chance of 15 men to impregnate a 41-year-old. Like, what the heck? Is a TV show? Entertainment, lawlessness, immorality, hedonism. Yeah, I mean, come on. It doesn't take much to, find this stuff out. Disney Loki character. Loki. Yeah, well, we all gender fluid. Mm-hmm. Right is wrong. Wrong is right. Some of these I can't read. I wish I could, but, Pacific Ocean has become so acidic that what? That it's dissolving crabs' shells. Wow. Man, that's crazy. Anyway, so you can see, a lot of good information here. So those, you can check all those out. Those are all good sources of information to, I just saw that. I didn't know. I don't know why. Yeah, gosh. Tobat, a lot of, I mean, my family is too. My family is too. Against the, I mean, they didn't really, it's sad. I know, it's sad. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully it's not as bad as, the extreme anti sniffles people are saying. Hopefully it's not, but I don't know. The thing is, we just don't know. We don't know. I hope it's not though. I hope it's not as bad as the extreme cases say. But we'll see. Hey, maybe we're in the end times and the rapture will happen before all this. That would be the best situation. But yeah. I mean, the thing is, we just don't. We just don't know. The Soul Assassin, I see that. Yeah. It's made a lot of people sick. I've seen. And, people are still, the thing is, people are still getting it anyway, and you can still pass it on. So, it's like, what's the push for it? Anyway, can't really say much more about it on here. But, well, guys, I'm going to call it a show because my voice is shot. So thank you guys all for listening to me for 3 hours. Only me. But I held a good crowd. I mean, we held mostly in the 20s the whole show. So I was very happy about that, considering I wasn't even sure if I was going to do a show. I was leaning towards not doing it. Didn't really know what I was going to talk about. Didn't really have a plan at all until about a half hour before the show. So I appreciate you guys all listening, and hopefully you enjoyed it. You found it informative, enlightening. I try to enlighten the planet. I don't know, my video screen is frozen, but it is what it is. I guess that's a good as good a picture as any. Yes. Yeah, Vinny, I've been going for 3 hours. No, I haven't watched it yet, but I was telling I already told Drew and Flip that I think next week, if you're able to have you on as a guest, I'm gonna send them the doc too, so we could talk about it. Because I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I was telling him I was almost not even gonna do a show because I didn't have anything planned for tonight. But then when my wife talked me into it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's a great idea. I'll just talk about why I think we're in the end times for 3 hours. I didn't even know if I'd be able to get through an hour. I figured I'll just do it for an hour, be a quick show. Of course, I always say that. But anyway, yeah, next week, Vinny, if you're free, I'll talk about that because I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it in the next couple of days. I watched like the first 10 minutes, and I was like, yeah, but I didn't have time to watch the whole thing. It was when I got back from work. It was like 1 a.m, so I couldn't really I couldn't make it through it all. But I'm definitely gonna watch it. So, man, this screen is really frozen. It's not even catching up. It's crazy. Usually it, kind of catches up. But all right, guys. Well, thank you all for okay, cool, Vinny. Cool. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and thank you, RR. I appreciate that. And I do see all the stickers. You guys can join. I saw you become a member up here. Where is that? There we go. There we go. As RR says, as my member says, you can become a channel member, get cool emojis, and now you can watch my older streams. All the Enter the Unfamiliar live streams I do will be all, what is it, 47 episodes now? I think it's 47. Well, this is episode 47. So they should all be on there, give or take one. I think one got taken down for a copyright reason, so it's ineligible to be played. But other than that, they're all on the members area now. So you can, if you want to watch the old shows, or if you're new to the channel and want to, catch up on the old stuff that I put out. I mean, old, like within the last year. I mean, everything is relevant. Everything's happening now. So it's all great information. I've done a lot of research on a lot of different topics in there. There's megalithic structure. I did like a 5-part series on megalithic structures, focusing on a different area every show. That was a great show, great series of shows. There's like 5 of them on there. And man, you want to wonder about how I was talking about the past being more technologically advanced than we are now. Watch those shows, and they, you can see some of those things they were able to do and the structures and how they were able to manipulate things. I mean, there's just, it's impossible. They had to have technology that was far advanced of our own. So you can check out that if you're interested. You can become a member and watch all my live streams that I've done. Hours and hours. My goodness. Most of them are 2 to 3 hours. So you're talking 47 of them now, averaging around 2.5 hours a piece. Tons of hours of information, fun chats, you get all that stuff. So you can become a member. Check that out. And hit that like button on this video, subscribe. I will leave this video, this live stream, up for the week. And then by next Sunday, probably push it over to the members area so you can check that out. And if you haven't watched the video on the Converse, it's the whole Converse demonic ad, check it out. It's my most popular video. It's at 3,000. It's at like 9,000 right now. It's so thankful. It's been climbing. Oh, Tracy. Hello, Tracy. Welcome. I'm just finishing up about a 3-hour show, but I am going to leave this up so you can watch it. You can go back and watch it. It was a very fascinating, I hope, fascinating live stream. Oh, there we go. Oh man, my camera finally updated and it froze. Good thing it wasn't froze this whole time. But yeah, Tracy, welcome. I know I've seen you in the comment section from the video I'm talking about, the Converse video. So I appreciate you checking out the stream. But yeah, as I was saying, you can go watch that video. It's pretty interesting. But it did become my it's my highest viewed video right now, and I'm getting close to 1,400 subscribers. So just trying to catch Sporking, my buddy Sporking, Scotty. He's doing fit. He had 15. So congratulations to Scott with 1,500 subscribers. He's growing, and we're all doing well. Steven too. Steven Walton's been growing. So all the rogues, and check us out on Tuesday on Rogue Entertainment. It's on Supreme Heretics channel, Drew's channel. We do our live show. I don't know what's up with my screen. I don't know. Yeah, we do our live shows on Tuesdays on Drew's channel, Supreme Heretic, and then we do our Rogue Entertainment on Saturdays, although I'm usually working, so I'm not able to do that show, but that's on either McKinney 90 or author Steve O'Malton. So you can check that out. We do entertainment stuff, to combat the woke agenda. So you can check that out too. And then every Sunday, you can find me here Sunday nights, 6 o'clock, give or take, Pacific Standard Time, depending on how. Yeah, I know it's one frame at a time. I don't know what's going on. It was not like it was acting normal for like the whole, pretty much the whole show was normal until I stopped sharing the screen and turned my camera back on. Now it's like, I don't know why it's frozen, but whatever. That's life. It's never perfect. I'm just glad it was normal for most of the show. Yeah, see, it's this pesky Nephilim messing with the signal. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Tolbat, that's where we all started. I started with, I think I had like my wife subbed and a couple friends, and that was it. I didn't know, I didn't have anyone. I didn't know anyone. And then I reached out to John Talks, and that's how I kind of got involved with. I talked to John. We started becoming friends, and I met with Stephen Walton, and that got me into Rogue Entertainment, and it just kind of blossomed from there. I started meeting people, but I mean, yeah, everyone starts with nothing. I mean, when I started, I at least had some of the community. It was 2018, so it was just kind of growing at that point. So it was good. I was able to kind of connect with some of them, and oh my gosh, no, please, anyone but him, unless it's your version of him, because you do the best version of Andrew Cole. Man, you had me cracking up so much on Tuesday. Oh my gosh. But Toolbat, I mean, just start the channel, just start it. Doesn't matter how many people it's gonna. Everyone starts low, and it's gonna take you a while to grow. And I mean, geez, it took me forever to get to 1,000. Your first 1,000 is the hardest, and it starts getting a little. It feel like it starts getting a little easier after that. I feel like people, once they see you at 1,000, it's like, they're more willing to hit the subscribe button. If you're below 1,000, it's kind of you just gotta fight it. It's got to fight tooth and nail to get there. But yeah, it definitely seems to be a little easier after you break that 1,000 mark. You found me through John? If I had a quiet place, but I have 4 children. Oh yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Having to stop for the kids. I found you through John. Oh wow, you found me through John. That's crazy. See, there you go. Yep. Yeah. John Talks. Great guy. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call this a show at the 3 hour and 15 minute mark. My voice is just, oh man, drink some chamomile tea. All right. So until next week, be excellent to each other, party on, and travel safely, my friends.